Hey, this ain't a drill. Only time I plan is on the field. And when I'm on the field, no, I got mad skills. And you know we bout to eat this a fast meal. Y'all gotta pay for this heat like a gas bill. We keep on coming back, so yeah, they mad still. Everyone sick, make them pay me some bad bills. Red, white, and blue like Superman, so you know we eating at the Super Bowl. Kill the competition, set up the funeral. Josh Allen catching all the shots you go for. We callin' blitz. Ready to start, we ain't calling no quits. I'm the #1 draft pick. A lot of y'all talk, but I ain't hearing it. Only listen to Keyshawn and niggas talk about the Bills. Dominating on the field. All our players got them skills. Buffalo don't make a kill when we talk about the Bills. Dominating on the field, and our players got them skills. Buffalo won't make a kill.
What's going on? Welcome back to another live episode of the Post Podium Podcast, home of the all truth, no sodium takes. I am your co-host, Aramis.
This is 40 Keys. Question for you, though, before we go.
Go for it.
I got a little over a month left of this. So what do I do? I can only be 40 Keys for about another 6 weeks. So,
ooh, yeah, you coming up on it.
Yeah,
just forever be 40 Keys.
40 Keys? Is that cool?
That's it.
Is that cool with y'all? Yes? Okay, cool. Also,
just stay there.
I wanted to make sure Mark knew if he turned this show on with his company over, that yes, he knows us and we know him. We're that intimate that we get along with everybody. And look at the comments. Mark.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. Yeah,
you know us and we know you. So, salud. We'll see you later.
Tommy said, not sure if anyone knows, but that's me, Tommy, rapping on that intro.
Yeah, T-Top.
Yeah, we paid him. We paid him to do it. Yeah.
We paid him in Dogecoin.
Dogecoin. Oh my gosh. All right, look, we got some we have a lot to get to. We only been doing what, one show a week?
Yeah, it's killing me softly.
It is.
I feel like everything happens after Monday.
Yeah, bro, tell me about it. And then we can't talk about it until a week later.
We can't even talk to each other about this because it's got to be fresh.
Well, look, we got 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So let's, let's just get into it. Like, where would you like to start?
Let's see. I got some stuff. Let's do that.
Let's do stuff.
So, okay, I saw an article yesterday. It made me chuckle just a little bit. The title was called "Chiefs Can't Help But Laugh as Bills Implode with Suspensions from New Signings." Excuse me? Excuse the hell out of me. I did not know Larry Ogunjobi and Michael Hoyt were that big of a deal. Wow. Yeah, we're done. We're screwed. We are finished.
Okay. But let's think this through. For the Buffalo Bills, both of those players serve very important positions on this team.
On the bench. They hold the bench from flying up the little heater thing. They got to heat it. Man, okay, this is where I deduce. Kevin Hart bargain bit. I got you, Kev. Don't worry about it. We're gonna get into that too.
No doubt.
I'm not gonna slander him. Oh shoot, you got the salt.
I took it from you. That's right.
Okay.
You can't do it now.
I'm not gonna slander him, but I'm gonna speak truth.
Okay.
All truth and low sodium.
Low
sodium. So the thing about this deal is, okay, Ogunjobi, I don't know if people say he was really good, this, second, third, but he was tight. He was miscast in Pittsburgh.
True.
He was never really good. He had a great rookie year, and he had, I think, 2022, he had 8 sacks.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of that, he's never graded high as a run defender.
Correct.
Never graded high as a pass defender. Never graded high in last names, because that's a long last name. A lot of people can't say it yet.
Really? It's not that hard.
I know, but it's a different stroke for different folks.
That's fine. That's fine. I get it.
But and the thing is, when it comes to Michael Hoyt, he's the ultimate chess piece. He's the ultimate Lorenzo Alexander replacement. He's this, that, and third. And, to certain people's degrees, their points, why did the Rams not keep him then? They had plenty of money and they had a need, maybe, but they let him go.
I personally don't think they had a need, but I think the salary cap is starting to catch up in terms of guys that they've drafted that they want to keep. And I don't think Michael Hoyt fit in that picture, so to speak, right? Because Verse is shown himself to be that dude. So now it's all about putting guys around them and building around them to get them to make their jobs easier, in a sense, I guess.
You mean Jared Verse and Braden Fisk, the 2 guys he just drafted last year in the same draft?
I feel like I just stepped in something here.
The two cornerstone D linemen they have now that they just drafted in last year's draft.
Correct.
While we're paying older guys to play these positions.
Well, okay. I was thinking about this, and this is kind of leading into.
Like Silas said, Ogunjobi booty cheeks.
Well, so the thing with Ogunjobi is he came from the Steelers, and we watched that Steelers defense implode last season, especially late last season. Right? They were pretty decent to start the season. They had a few injuries here and there, but just down the stretch, their secondary was shown to be terrible. They couldn't get pass rush. They weren't the same defense, right? And he was a starter on that defense. Like there were plenty of people that were tweeting about that, like from the Steelers that were tweeting he was good, decent run defender, but we're glad he's gone. Right. And here we are paying him upwards of $10 million, or not? I'm sorry, upwards of 8 and max of 10 for one season. Like I get where the salary cap is, but if this guy is supposed to be a bench player, you're not paying a bench player $8 million.
You know what I thought about too? I said this in the last show, but I'm gonna say it again. This defense is not built for a cornerstone major player. They're too rotational. The back 4 or 5 is too soft. They play a soft game. You can get by with Christian Benford. Yeah. You can get by with that kind of stuff. And I'm not saying Christian Benford is not a good player. I'm just saying that if you lose Rasul Douglas, you'll just replace him with somebody else and you'll be fine. Yeah. Christian Benford, you might have a small drop off, but you'll probably be fine. The defensive line between outside of Ed Oliver outside of Russo and Epinesa, nobody else on the team played more than 55% of snaps. Not Ed Oliver, nobody else. Epinesa played 55.6 or something like that. Right. So when you say, do we need to invest $12 million in Joey Bosa? Do you need to invest $8.5 million in Ogunjobi? Do you need to put Michael Hoyt in there at $7 million? That's what, $27 million in 3 guys? Yeah. For a rotation? For what? I mean, and Ogunjobi, it further gets me because of this Peds thing. Now, when you're talking about a guy who's going to be suspended for 6 games, I was watching Talking Buffalo and Pat Moran. I love his show, but he was talking about how he was tired of hearing people say that's not a big deal. Now it's really not, and this is why. Let me explain to you, because I know Roy was in there. And I think Roy started it. So let me just expound if Pat is watching or if anybody wants to relay the message. When you're talking about Larry Ogunjobi, 8.5, 8.9, whatever his salary contract is, you got Brandon Beane who panicked again. Admittedly, panicked. Why did you sign him? Well, the well ran dry. In the time that we talked about signing him to the time where other players, it was dry. There was nobody else out there.
For Ogunjobi?
Yes. He said
Jonathan
he had to
Allen was available for trade 2 weeks ago.
I'm glad you said. See, I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that, because I didn't have it up in my notes, but I have it.
If you have the list of guys that were,
I have a list of guys.
Yeah, let's just go through.
I have a list of guys.
The well ran dry.
Shoot. Anyway, while I'm looking for it, no, I mean, Ogunjobi suspended for 6 weeks. Who's signing a suspended guy in 6 weeks? Who's going to sign a guy that's suspended?
They could have got him for less.
That gives you time to hit the draft. Gives you time to get your 2 defense. Hell, get 3. Yeah. Guess what? If they don't pan out, go get your man Leary or Linval Joseph or Derek Nandi or Jonathan Hankins, or these guys are there.
There's plenty of guys that are at that older age that would take the veteran men to come here, halfway through a season and just play the rest of the season out. Yep. And play well. So about this rotation, about this, and as soon as you find the list, you got it. Okay, let's go through the list.
Okay. Now, the list is as follows. People still free. You have Raekwon Davis at 27.5 years old. You have Austin Johnson, who we already had, for 3.5. John Jenkins, Lucky Fotu, Linval Joseph, Jonathan Hankins, Taven Bryant, Maurice Hurst, Benito Jones, Daniel Ukulele, whatever, Khalil Davis, Jordan Phillips, the one that we already had 8 times, Quentin Jefferson.
Oh, these are guys that are still available.
They're still available.
Yeah.
So what was it about Linval Joseph? As Silas said, he's booty cheeks. We could have waited. You could have waited, because you got a draft, which I've been banging the table for, and Silas, tell me if I'm wrong. This is a defensive tackle rich draft.
Exactly.
Mid rounds. You ain't got to reach. You don't have if you can't get Kenneth Grant, guess what? Cry 2 tears in the bucket. Because you can go get the other ones. You got CJ West. You got Alfred Collins. You got guys for years. Silas, let me know. I know Raekwon Davis stinks, but that's not the point. The point is, what was the rush? What was the rush?
Right.
And Roy, you started someone talking Buffalo when you said it wasn't a big deal that that we signed Ogunjobi and Hoyt. Roy said, "What did I start?" You started on talking Buffalo, not here.
Shout out to D's, a Giants fan here. Love the show, fellas. Thank you, appreciate that. To respond to everything that you've presented, I think that kind of it's like it just immediately propels us into this conversation about, is the Bills culture at risk now, right? And when I say is it at risk, is the integrity of it at risk, right? I titled this episode, "Is the Bills' cultural integrity at risk?" So what I mean by that is, when you look at what the Bills have worked so hard to put together in this locker room, it's been, guys with families, older guys that are ready to settle down, like that's part of the reason why we get all of these guys that are kind of like, just getting past their prime, like a Joey Bosa. He's at that stage of his life. Yeah, exactly. It's exactly. And that's why I wanted to bring that out, because this is why players like that are coming here at that stage of their life, because this locker room culture was built. It was designed to accommodate those guys. And if you're a younger guy and you come in, you're expected to acclimate to that culture. You're not given the freedom, in a sense, to color outside the lines when it comes to that. And if you do, you end up like Shady McCoy. You end up like Steph Diggs. 2 guys who are name players who had an issue with the head coach, and in the very next year they were gone, right? But the main point I want to get to is this. What does it say about this Bills culture when they push so hard for making sure that they're not bringing guys in with baggage? They're not bringing guys in that are not locker room guys. But the reports were, when they signed both of these dudes, they knew that these suspensions were coming. Mm-hmm. So how do you talk out of one side of your face and say, we want to have, we're all about culture, we're all about doing the right thing and doing your 111th. Well, performance enhancing drugs is not your 111th.
Well, I mean, I get what you're saying. I think in their responses and where this fell, how it fell, it still does kind of fall into their culture first. Because you listen to Hoyt, what he said. He said, when I found out, got the news, it was the worst day of my life. Man, well, slow down, Bucko.
No,
slow down, Bucko.
He had to say that.
No, he didn't have to say that. You already signed. Slow down, Bucko. And no, I really believe that's him. Something wrong with my camera. What's wrong with me? Okay.
Going out of focus?
Yeah, I must be a ghoul.
You weren't supposed to disagree with me. That's what it was.
You faded me to black. But I think when you listen to how I'm so happy to be here, second, third, and then he gets real solemn and Ogunjobi, that's on me. I got to tell you, I'm not going to fight it. Yeah. I'd messed up. I got to be more. Man, give me somebody who's like, you know what? Yeah, it's 6 games. I'll be back. I'm gonna be hungry. I'm gonna tear something up when I get back in here. I mean, that's the fact that they acknowledged it, the fact that they came to the office and were forthright, because Bean said it was forthright, and Hoyt said forthright, and Ogunjobi said forthright. Everything was honest. We had this conversation. Ogunjobi said before that he sat with the Bears and they tore up his contract basically because of his injuries. Mm-hmm. He's like, I thought I was going to be there again, but I have to be forthright. I have to do the right thing, Mr. Cleaver, Mr. Dennis the Menace. Mm-hmm. That's what the culture is. I messed up. I got to own up to it. Like today earlier, I'll tell a personal story. Yes, Mom, I'm going to tell the story. You don't hear a lot about Ken anymore. Every Monday he comes home and he has a folder they have to pull out, and they got homework in there. Okay. So in the car, he didn't say nothing about it. Got home. I said, okay, Ken, you got to help straighten up. But then get you your homework. He's like, homework? I said, you ain't got no homework? He was like, no, I ain't got no homework. I said, Ken, it's Monday. He's like, then he came back. He's like, you know what, Dad, I'm sorry. I messed up. I left my homework at school. I said, oh man. I said, well, okay, you can't play the game today.
Yep.
But whatever. So I told T. He thought T was going to like let him have it. And no, because I told her already. So she already knew.
Yeah.
And I tell the story because that's like what they're going through with the Bills. You know, I had to suffer the consequence, and I knew it was coming, but I owned up to it, so it shouldn't be that bad. You know, they didn't sweep it under the rug. This isn't a second-time offender. This is so. I think for me with them is more so how long were you on the stuff? How long were you doing whatever it was that you think may have got you to this point?
Mm-hmm.
Because are you going to be Sean Merriman? Is your body going to fall apart? Now that you're off whatever it was that made you, that gave you the edge that you had, the competitive edge. Because that's what usually happens when you come off of, you know, enhancing drugs and things like that. Your body falls apart.
Well, my thing is this. And the reason I mentioned Shady and Diggs is because both of those situations were very similar in terms of what caused their performance to decrease, right? When you look at the reason they left, they were sent out the door because they spoke up against what was happening around them in terms of coaching decisions, offensive game plan decisions, offensive scheme decisions, stuff like that. They had an issue with that. And for Shady in particular, his gripe was, don't call me up to your office and question me on why my performance is down and why it seems like I'm not as invested or I'm not going as hard as I usually do when the offensive line you put in front of me is not as great as it was the year before, when I had one of the best running back seasons in Bills history, right? So then we fast forward to Stephon Diggs. He has questions about the offensive scheme. What's the issue with Diggs? The talent around him decreased. Think about who we had when he first got here. We had Cole Beasley. We had John Brown. We had some boys on offense around him. And the best offseason, the best offensive season we saw was 2020 when we absolutely cooked the league, right? So what happened? Well, he speaks up about the offense. A year later, he's out of there.
He's
right?
A pariah.
Right.
We're very concerned.
Exactly.
Bye.
So this guy, both of those guys were sent out the door as cultural risks, right? We can't have a guy like this in our locker room. Did they commit any? Did they violate any league policies? No. Did they commit any crimes? No. Were they in the news at all for you know, something anywhere near performance enhancing drugs? No. Right. So how is it okay for them to be shown the door when they're much better than an Ogunjobi and a Michael Hoyt, but a Michael Hoyt and an Ogunjobi get signed here with the knowledge that these guys have violated the league's policy, but these guys fit the culture?
Yeah, I think
that's the conflict for me.
No, I get it. I think Kevin said he kept track. Bean said it. He kept track of Ogunjobi from Charlotte, University of Charlotte. You know, he was a man of the year last year. So when you become the man of the year, that trumps everything. We got a good guy on our team. We got a leader. He's 30 years old, whatever he is. He's a leader. Let's bring him in the building. We got young guys in the defensive tackle room. We got young guys in the defensive side of the ball. Anyway, we're gonna bring more in. We already plan on it. We need this role model. You know, and now he can be a testament to what happens when you don't pay attention to what you're doing in the NFL. This is a learning experience for the rookies that are coming in, CJ West or whoever they bring in. This is going to be what they're going to do. Larry, talk to him. Show them what happened one time. One bad thing happens and show them what happens. You know, and that's how they operate. They want their leadership council, their old heads to say, look here, son, come here. I did this one thing one time and this is what happened. You don't be like me.
It is all propaganda.
Yep.
That's all it is.
Yep. Can I say it one time as Columbus Billy said it?
Go ahead.
Colt 45.
Wait.
Right here. Right. Yeah. He said it because Billy D said, what's up, brothers? What's good, brothers? Columbus Billy said Colt 45.
Colt 45.
Yeah. That sounds kind of demonic, but yeah, it works.
No, I ain't got a deep voice. I gotta try.
That does sound demonic a little bit.
Come on. Y'all gotta cut me some slack. I'm trying out here.
No, you are. You're making it happen. Yeah, no, you know, and I think I agree with what you're saying. I get what you're saying anyway. It makes sense, you know, whereas as you know, it spits in the face of culture, but at the same time, you know, you like in Vampire in Brooklyn, what do you say? You can't have good without evil. So we got these culture guys, and some of them are mired. You know, needing to go to jail, none of that stuff. So I see that would be the thing that got me. Never been in trouble before. We got a DUI or something like that. Went to jail, came back.
Roy said I needed exorcism.
Yes,
come on, man.
But that was on the fly. I like that.
Hey, I tried.
You did. But no, so yeah, I get it 100%. I do think that it's new. Whereas as the signing of old washed up players is Ogunjobi. And the thing is, he said, like, I like playing the 4-eye, which is pretty much the 3 tech. It's just his inside the guard shoulder, which doesn't do me any good because I want that 1 tech. And if you know anything about 3 tech, I'm going to say it. Yes, you guys know he's not that big. He's 6'4", 305 or something like that. So
Ogunjobi?
Yeah,
he's 6'3", 305.
6'3". Okay, so yeah, I mean, and he's not sloppily built. He's wearing the hell out of that suit. I ain't gonna lie to you. I want to look like that, but I'm not trying to play 1 tech in the NFL either. So, but no, I think Hoyt. He said, and I'm interested in him because he was talking about how he can line up. He blitz from the middle linebacker spot. He blitz from outside. He blitz from D-tap. Over nose. He's blitz from everywhere. He's going to play special teams, which they love, of course. So I don't know. I mean, I just think $7 million was ridiculous for that. I mean, he made 2.9 on his last contract. Or what was the year or whatever it was? He made 2.9 and he gets a boost to 7. What did he do last year that was so great? They got him $7 million. I don't know.
One last point about the defensive line before we move on to the next signing. The rotation sounds good, but the application or the implementation of it is flawed. When you have, so I've seen other teams do this. The Eagles have done this, but the Eagles have had multiple good pass rushers. So their rotation is justified because they have so much talent that they can afford to rotate guys in and get a lot of good, solid, heavy pressure every single play. Right. The Buffalo Bills have not had that. I mean, Greg Rousseau's been the only pressure guy that we've had realistically and statistically. Right. And so what does that mean? Well, that means that, all the other guys are pretty good, but they don't justify having a rotation.
No.
And so what it boils down to is you have a head coach that wants a rotation just for the sake of having a rotation because in his mind that keeps guys fresh. Well, here's the deal with that. And I'm not saying this specifically about our players, but if I've got 7 tomato cans and I rotate them all, that's not gonna do me any good. In terms of my pass rush. You know what I'm saying? It's not gonna give me this extra pop to my game, so to speak, because everybody's just decent. But let's measure that against actual impact. Let's measure that versus how many snaps a guy like Myles Garrett takes per game, right? If you look at Myles Garrett's career, he ain't been super healthy every single year, but for the most part, he's been up there. Right. You look at Mario Williams' career. He wasn't hurt that much. I mean, J.J. Watt was probably hurt a lot more than not, but he had a few seasons, earlier in his career where he was solid. He wasn't getting hurt like that. Right. So when I'm looking at these dominant pass rushers and I'm thinking about the immediate impact they have, what I'm thinking about is 3 and out. Right. If I put dogs on the field, if I put blue chippers and playmakers on my defense, I don't need a rotation because it's 3 and out. Like, what, you know what I'm saying? Like, who was the best defense in the league last year? It was Cleveland, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Those boys were 3 and out. The reason they spent so much time on the field is because the offense was terrible most of the season. So they were just out there because they would get the other team off the field and their offense couldn't do nothing. They would go 3 and out and defense got to come back. So those are the types of things that I want my head coach to pay attention to kind of take a look and be objective on the decisions that he's making when it comes to his philosophy. Because really the rotation is a philosophical belief. But if you don't have anybody to tell you it's not working and you don't believe based on what you're seeing that it's not working, or you're just too stubborn to admit it, and you keep rolling with it, you're going to end up with what we have, which is guys that deserve to be in a rotation because they're not starters.
Let me ask you about this. I don't know if you listened to Brandon Bean's press conference from Friday, where they asked him about Kyer. And he said, I'm going to get emotional about Kyer. He said, I really love the guy, this, that, and third. I really needed to work out. Now, this is my question.
Okay.
When he's talking about how he wanted it to work out, how he didn't get on the field, blah, blah, blah. is this another example of a fracture between McBean? Because if if Bean wanted to draft him, if he was his draft pick, he kept saying, "This is my draft pick. This was on me. I did this." Why didn't he ever get on the field? I mean, I'm sure McDermott was like, whatever. But who really said he wasn't good enough? Who said that it wasn't Bean, obviously? So who said that Kyer wasn't good enough?
The way they painted the picture last year, before our defensive backs coach that was here in 23 left, they made it seem like it was that guy that was keeping Kyer Elam off the field, right? And what's tricky about that, and as soon as they said that, I was like, okay, we'll see if that's true, because we've seen the Bills say things about coaches that wasn't true. And I'll give you a prime example. The Bills said that Leslie Frazier was taking a break. We talked about this, 2 years ago. They said Leslie Frazier was taking a year off, and we'll see where it goes from there. And literally, I think it was within 6 months, he was on the accelerated head coaching program in the NFL to go and get another head coaching job somewhere. That doesn't sound like a guy that's taking a year off. That sounds like a guy that wanted to resign. The Bills did not want to deal with the political backlash of their defensive coordinator, a prominent name in the NFL, stepping down because he didn't want to be here, because he didn't like what he was seeing happening in the building. And they decided to come to an agreement with him. And I'm as sure as I'm sitting here in front of you, this is how it was reported to me. They had a meeting and they decided to part ways. And this is the story that they all agreed upon. Right. But again, what the Bills put out wasn't what actually happened. So what guarantee do we have that it was actually the defensive backs, defensive back coach's fault that, because he didn't like Kyer Elam, that's why Kyer Elam didn't get on the field.
He might not have, but the thing is, after he left, I think it was John Butler, I believe his name was.
Yeah.
But after he left, one guy remains.
Sit down, Rich.
And I'm fine with the guy that Rich is talking about, but one guy remains, and you don't like the guy. You don't like Kyer, and the reason why the main conclusion I have when it comes to not liking him is this is the scheme I want to run. I'm not changing it. Kyer can't run this scheme. It's nothing personal, but I just think he sucks on my defense. And Bean picked him. Don't know why, but
just keep going. Just keep going.
Bean picked him,
no.
What? Come on, no. You see, we gave you that one.
No,
he had the mic in front of his. He had the mic over there somewhere.
Right.
No.
Come on, man.
No.
You gotta say it with your chest.
Pause.
There you go.
Press play. Okay.
Press play.
He's his own button.
He's
now.
satisfied, right? He's satisfied.
I'm
He's
satisfied
got a mic
over here. I got the mic and everything.
All right, keep going.
Hey, I seen you at Taco Bell, and I should have put him McDermott for president on your car window. Dang.
Yeah. No, I did see him earlier today. I didn't know you be eating Taco Bell, man. That's what's up.
We got something in common.
No, I was driving Uber when he saw me.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah. See, I like I said, I think, which is fine. If you don't believe that he fits in your defense, don't play him. But my thing is, Bean has this thing with Kyer. He feels bad about it. He's terrible about it. I'm rooting for him. I wish we could have made it work. He was hungry to get on the field, never did. Bean, you don't make that call who plays on the field. So the one constant, Mr. McDermott, which is not slander at all, just didn't like him. Yeah. And so that's why I deduced, was this a fracture? Who's drafted? How much communication is it? Because that's the first round pick. What do we say about first round picks? That's Bean and McDermott. Yeah. That ain't no scouts. That's those. What am I? Buy me. I'm leaving. Okay, am I coming back? Okay, I think I'm coming back.
Oh, the focus?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll fix that.
It's
auto focusing for some reason.
Yeah, I'm blurry. I'm a real
goes in
I'm a murky cat. Look at it. I'm a murky cat, but it's all right.
It keeps you just got to hit the middle of the screen because it keeps trying to focus on.
I'll put it on camera one for right now, and then I'll
No, you
they can still see me.
They can still see us. That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So let's see. Kev said we have 5 years of evidence that McDermott's scheme doesn't work. We have 6 iterations on offense, no scheme change on defense. That's why McDermott must go. No, you're right. We know his scheme doesn't work. We know it. I mean, it works because the offense makes it work. Our offense makes it work. And now we're talking about James Cook. Now we're talking. Well, we got Shakir back, but We're talking about an older quarterback. And
Silas over here trying to start an argument, man. I don't get it. I'm sorry. He says finish your point. I don't want to get
no. I mean that's cool. I think that the scheme shows you that it's only a sieve. The scheme is not going to dominate in interception, not going to dominate in sacks, not going to dominate anywhere. You know, we always come up with a gaudy sack number, but it's never one person. It's never one. That's why the sack number is what it is, dispersed amongst the whole team, because like we said on offense, everybody eats, but nobody's getting full. Now, if you have a prime Joey Bosa or you have somebody like that, and to Silas's point, the average time is under 3 seconds. Yeah, the average time is under 3 seconds, especially against the Bills. Why? Because the coverage is not good. It's not good. The pass rush is not going to be a pass rush when you have nothing in the back. The interior defensive tackles need to be better. No, the whole line needs to be better, because you're talking about quarterbacks that get to the outside, quarterbacks that hit. You can say linebackers need to be better at this point, because it's a collective of defenses. It's not just D tackles. It's not.
Right. All right. Let me just stay focused here. So
we don't stay focused on this show.
Yeah, I know. I don't. All right, fine. Whittle, you win. So Whittle says if the average time to throw is under 3 seconds consistently, it's on the coverage. It's the coverage more than the pass rush. Interior DT needs to be better, bro. First and foremost, last year was the first year. No, Rich, I'm going in. Last year was the first year that our coverage was as bad as it was. That is the first year that the Buffalo Bills have had a bad secondary since the inception of Sean McDermott in Buffalo.
Yep.
Right? And that is what it sounds like you're referring to, right? I understand that the idea of the moves we make this year is to fix what was wrong last year. But traditionally, the Bills have had a good secondary, right? And we've consistently had defensive line issues since the beginning, since Kyle Williams and Lorenzo Alexander and all them boys were here. We just weren't able to get home. And what we're trying to point out is it has nothing to do with the secondary. It has everything to do with who we're putting on the defensive line and the philosophy behind how many snaps those guys get. If you were more reliant on dogs to come in here and go get the quarterback, you wouldn't be so concerned with a rotation, because you're keeping guys on the field that help to get you off the field faster, right? But the design of this defense, the design of the scheme, the players they pick, and all that stuff leans heavily into, we want to be slow and methodical on defense. We want to limit big plays and try as hard as we can to get turnovers with smart, heady football players, right? We want those savvy football players that are just, decent athletes, right? One of the things that Greg Cosell said about the safety we signed from the Commanders, he's not the best athlete on the field. We've heard that about pretty much every guy on this Buffalo Bills team. Name one dude that we've got in here that's been like, oh, he's an athletic freak. Michael Hoyt is probably the best of all of them right now in terms of being an athletic freak. Him and Spencer Brown, that'd be about it. Like, we're talking about a right tackle and a guy that's not even going to be a starter on our defensive line being the best physical specimens of our team. Are you crazy? Like, this is what the Bills expect people to get excited about. And look, don't get me wrong. It's my team. When the ball is snapped, I want them to win. I want them to get home. I'm gonna be excited when they do. But damn, if we can have better, why not get better? If I know, okay, let's relate this to diet. Okay, if I know that the juice I'm drinking has got high fructose corn syrup in it, one of the worst things you can put in your body, right? And somebody comes and actually tells me, hey, you got that high fructose corn syrup in your juice, man. That ain't good for your body. Oh man, you're right. That might explain why I ain't been able to, have the energy I want to have, and why I feel so lethargic, and why I can't get good sleep all the time, and why I keep gaining weight. Like all these negative effects of high fructose corn syrup that's going into my body, right? But I say to myself, you know what? I believe in the energy. I'm sorry. I believe in the boost that high fructose corn syrup gives me in the morning when I drink that juice. I believe in that boost, that high fructose corn syrup gives me right after I eat dinner. It gives me the energy to go take a shower and throw a load of laundry in the washer. Like all this stuff that I'm like fooling myself into believing, even though the thing I'm putting in my body is killing me.
Yeah, you be like, no, sir, that's crack.
Right.
That's crack. You it's not fructose corn syrup. That's some narcotic. And yeah, you're right. You're right.
I mean, okay, so now Widow is saying, so in 2023, the Bills are top 5 in sacks. 2022, Von got hurt and had 8.5 sacks. Okay, you want to bring up top 5 in sacks? Let's look at the sack rate per game. Give me that stat, because we're not a big show on stats, but if you want to get into it, context is everything. So it's so easy to point to one stat and say, well, we were top 5 in sacks. Why were we top 5 in sacks? Because our secondary was damn good, and most of our sacks, I guarantee you, when you put the tape on, they're all coverage sacks. We have not had a guy that's averaged a certain amount of sacks per season that is any kind of overwhelming. Like Greg Rousseau's been our best guy over his whole career.
Yeah, I mean, we went through this already. You figure, what are we missing now? There's a common denominator here when you're talking about, why we were getting sacks versus why we're not now. There were 2 players that we had the whole time McDermott's been here that everybody knew were our best 2 players. They're gone. And it had nothing to do with Von Miller. It had nothing to do with Rousseau. It had nothing to do with our interior line. It was our safeties. This defense is contingent on the safeties. Everything. And if you watch the presser with Forrest, he mentioned, I love the fact that when I was in Washington, I like making checks. I like being the guy that does the check downs and reads the offense to make sure everybody's in the right lineup. Who's that sound like? Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer's to do that.
Yep.
So our safeties are contingent. It has nothing to do with the interior defensive line. It has nothing to do with our pass rush. This is what, like you said, it's coverage sacks because quarterbacks couldn't throw on us.
Exactly.
Now they can.
Right. Yeah. They can do whatever they want now, pretty much. Roy says, if Dr. Pepper is killing me, I'll go happy. Oh, yeah. Hey, do what you got to do, man.
Right.
Do what you got to do.
Speaking of which, I have an alert.
What's that?
We're not sponsored by somewhere I can't say. I'm gonna say what I want. So
say it, bro.
So
we free.
So I'm gonna go ahead and tell you where I went this weekend.
Okay.
I talk about BBQ chicken, right?
Yeah.
You know how John's wings, right?
Uh-huh.
You got to do Elmo's. Elmo's.
Yeah,
Elmo's
was telling me about
Elmo's.
Man.
I had Cajun barbecue on Saturday.
Yeah.
Man, let me just say,
your mouth watering a little bit.
You see, I'm like, but let me just say, T had a friend over, and I mean, we were, I was playing with you. I was having a good time. We were over there doing our thing, and they walk in and turn lights come on. I'm like, I know they about to go on my wings. So, I'm like, let me head them off the pass. I'll offer them a wing, just one each. Go. T's, she's like, I don't want one. I'm fine. I'm stuffed. A friend, I'll take one. I gave her one before I sat down. I need 5 more of these. I'm like, out of my kitty,
that'll be $3.99.
Right, that'll be $3. I mean, they're pricier, but they got this thing called Double Dip. You can combine any 2 sauces. Boom, and I mean, they tender, they saucy as all get out. Oh, Elmo's. Anybody that wants a good wing, go to Elmo's.
We supposed to go there this Saturday, right?
Yes, we are. Now, let me add a caveat to that. See, I also have my E&J, so I don't remember everything that happened on Saturday. Yes,
so to be clear, we made plans to go and visit this place.
I knew this was said. I wasn't sure.
All right, No Bone says, what coach was it that said you can't always try to draft for the exception? Seems like the constant strategy of this staff. That was Sean Payton who said that to Jim Monis when he worked for the Saints.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean that's been the issue. We've said this multiple times now. When you try to find guys that are going to come in here and overperform, you're now specifically looking for the exception because not everybody overperforms. So what you do is you go and you find the guys in college that perform at a high level, and you get as many of those guys as possible. And guess what? If they're a bust, you're justified.
Yep.
Because you can tell everybody, look at what he did in college. I thought he would do that here, and he didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Honest mistake. And here's the thing. If you operated under that strategy, especially in the first and second round, let's just say, for instance, they changed their strategy in the first, second round, and they started going after guys that had elite levels of performance in college. And every other year, let's just say, on and off, every other year, the first round guy was a bust. It would be fine as long as we know that you're going for the best possible guys.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously, if this was like a 20-year stretch of you on, every other year you got a first round bust, we'd have to start asking some questions. But the idea is, if you're going after guys that have the highest level of performance in college, and the rest of your draft, you draft the same way that you usually do, which is you do great in the later rounds, your team is going to be a hell of a lot better because of who you're bringing in the door.
Yep.
And I don't think anybody would have an issue with this. The only thing that we're waiting to see in terms of the draft is, can you get first year starters in the first and second round like most teams do?
Yep.
There's no law that says you have to be a terrible team in order to do that. But every time you hear Brandon Beane talk about these high profile guys in college, well, I wish we were I wish we were high enough to do that, but unfortunately I don't want to be bad enough of a team to draft that high.
We can't suck bad enough. Yes.
Right. Like, why does that have to be the only way you go and get a guy like that? You know what I'm saying? I mean, look, if I was a GM that moved up to draft Kincaid and he performed like he did over the last 3 years or 2 years, and I'm the guy who drafted Kaiir Elam and he performed like he did over the last 5 years, and I'm the guy that moved up and drafted, who else? Name it. I mean, who did we have before that in the first round?
Before Kaiir?
Yeah. Kincaid was before Kaiir. Who was before Kincaid?
No. It was okay. So last year we had Keon Coleman. The year before that was Kincaid. The year before that was Kaiir. The year before that was Rousseau.
Really?
Yeah. Kaiir was before Kincaid.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. See that? All right, there goes my memory on that one. That's how much him not playing made a difference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're like, oh, he's there somewhere. Then he changes his number, so it resets everything.
Exactly. But my point is, though, that's the impact that we're expecting to see, and that's what's not like. That's the issue that I have. It's not me hating the guys. It's hating what the guys' decisions are,
right?
And those decisions are based off of the philosophies. And I'm kind of upset with this hard stance on these philosophies that look, and this is the part that frustrates me the most about it. Everybody that is excited about where the Bills are right now is looking at last season and saying we were in the AFC Championship game.
Mm-hmm.
So we were obviously good enough to make it there. I'm not worried about who we have on our team. What we do on the show is we ask why.
Mm-hmm.
The reason the Bills got that far was because a tight end dropped a pass in the divisional round that would have tied the game. And I'm sorry, like, as much as we want to believe that Josh marches down and goes and gets that's a good defense.
Mm-hmm.
And they slowed us down in the second half. Like, to me, the offense did not look as effective in that second half as it did in the first half. First half, we were cooking them, boys. Mm-hmm. They didn't have an answer. Second half, they made adjustments. We made adjustments. We totally took the run game out. They slowed us down a lot on offense, right? So all of that is to say, the entire league was down last year.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All the teams that you expected to come in and do something, all the teams that you expected to be good were not good,
mm-hmm.
right? So I'll leave that there. If you want to argue with that, I encourage you to go and do the research, because that's just what it is. Go ahead.
Speaking of research, so you asked about the sack percentages.
Yeah.
Last year we were 23rd in the league in sack percentage. 2023 we were actually good in 2023. With where were we? 2023 we were 3rd in sack percentage. 2022, we were 18th. 2021, we were 6th. And we'll just go to 2020. We'll do that. 2020, we were scrolling 14th. So we finished in the last 5 seasons or 5 seasons. We finished once in the top 10 in sack percentage.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah,
It says it all.
it's but see that goes with what we've already said. You know, we have this gaudy sack number, but it's not reflected on the field. Like nobody's afraid of us getting to their quarterback. Nobody's afraid of that.
Mhm.
And a lot of that, you know, when you have a defense that's devoid of skill, of athleticism. I forget, it scrolled up now, but somebody mentioned how. Oh, there it is, right there.
Where?
Yep, you just had it right there. MB41.
Okay.
Right there. You want to bring that up?
Yeah.
But yeah. No, I'm sorry, Derek. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was looking at this.
Yeah,
one.
I'm sorry about that. McDermott wants a cornerback who runs a 4.6 and can tackle. The same with safeties. His cover 2 is outdated. That's 100%. See, that's why our defensive line can't get home because we haven't identified guys you should be afraid of yet.
Exactly.
At first, it was Terrell Bernard, but then Terrell Bernard had an off season. They're like, whatever. Okay, we got Christian Bifford. Oh, he's playing soft zone. Never mind. Russell Douglas, throw it at him because he's letting them catch everything over there this year. Yep. And those 2 guys back there, number 3, hey, welcome back. When did you get here? And that guy with the mushroom top helmet, F him. You know, and that's how they think about our defense. Yeah. Now, offense, they're like, oh man, if we can score in our defense, then our offense, we can try to mitigate that. You know, they're gonna score. James Cook's gonna get off. Khalil Shakir is gonna get off. You know, Josh is gonna get off. And those other 2 running backs are gonna get off too. So we gotta figure out how to score with them.
Yep.
But their defense is gonna let us.
Yep.
And every time, every game they have. When everybody lauded the Rams game, the Lions game, how we ran up the score, wonder why? Because the other teams knew they could score on our defense. So we had to stay with them. So that's where my mind state comes. Can you win those low score games?
Right.
Can you win them? And this team, no, because the defense, if the other team doesn't beat themselves, our defense is not beating anybody.
That's right. That's right. The idea of this team wanting a corner who runs a 4.6, and this is what's funny about it. Like, we know this. Like what Derek is saying is like yes, I don't know of anybody who would argue that the Bills are not looking for these guys all over the draft, right? But what's funny about this is Sean McDermott is telling the reporters and stuff like I want. How did he say it? He said I just lost it.
We like speed. Basically, he said we like speed. We want speed. Of course, we want speed.
No, it wasn't that. It was something else. I forgot. Man, I just had it in my brain.
Well, why you do that? Why you modulate? I'm gonna answer MB41 because he asked the question and I put it up by mistake. I didn't disregard you. I promise you. It's a roster constructed well enough to right now that we can draft the best player available. Based on what I'm hearing, it is. No. And I don't. You know what? I take a hybrid approach when I do drafts. You know, it's always going to be a need or best, but you got to have both. Because what if it's a left tackle? Are you taking them? No. You know, what if it's a running back? Are you taking them? I hope not. Not because of James Cook, but you can get that later.
Right.
You know, Rashad Tootin, Basul Tootin, I'm sorry, from I think Virginia Tech. Fine. 4.38, big enough guy, can catch, have at it. You know, if you want to do that, but not in the first round. That's not where we're going. You know, everything is by committee with this team. So there's not much you want to take that high that you prioritize. So yes, the roster is pretty good, but inherently I never would draft just the best player available to do it.
Yeah. The thing that Sean said was he wanted to be 5 years ahead on defense, right? And when you think about what's crazy about that is the nickel defense they had when they came out with that nickel defense, they were only about a year, maybe 2 ahead of the league in terms of too high safety, right? And not giving up those big plays. It's one of the reasons we played, the Chiefs as well as we have, and other teams haven't been able to do it. We had perhaps the best safety tandem in the league for several years.
Yeah.
Right. But when your head coach is saying, yeah, we want to make sure we're 5 years ahead of the league, well, you still have to be able to play defense now too. You know what I'm saying? You can be building in the draft for 5 years from now. But when you look at what MB41 is asking, the Buffalo Bills go into free agency trying to fill as many big holes as possible so that
Pause.
You don't want to give him the mic.
Pause.
You did it.
I know.
Pause.
You can't give a 21-year-old a mic.
All right, I'm kicking myself. I'm sorry. And now he's got free reign too. I could just choose not to hit the button, but now he's got a whole microphone.
He's got a whole mic.
Yeah. Anyway.
There's no need for a button. You got me.
We see. You want to see?
Yeah, right. So they get as many guys into key positions, I'll say it like that,
There you go,
as they possibly can before the draft, so that there's no large perceived need in terms of what the Bills are going to try to go in and get in the draft. But here's what's funny about that. The year they drafted Kaiir Elam, everybody knew the biggest need they had was corner because they hadn't filled that hole yet. Dang it, I did it again.
Pause again.
Damn it.
I'm like, okay.
All right, I got to be more consistent with
You
this.
got to be more mindful of this.
It's becoming a
Be very
game on this
mindful
show.
how you say things now.
Can't hear this get through an entire show with no pauses.
Absolutely not.
Definitely not.
Not talking football. Anyway, so when you look at the Kincaid pick, they categorized it as a pass catcher, but everybody knew they needed some sort of impact in terms of catching the football.
Can we coin this a rule of EJ Manuel?
What do you mean?
What did Buddy Nick say as his parting gift to Buffalo? What was he going to do before he left?
I'm gonna get him a quarterback.
Get him a quarterback. Don't care who the hell he is, or how good he is. I'm gonna get you one.
Right.
And this is not a rule of EJ Manuel. Kaiir Elam. We got to get a cornerback. I don't care how the hell good he is.
Yeah.
Dalton Kincaid. We didn't need to rush for that because Sam Laporta was the next tight end.
Mm-hmm.
Sam Laporta. Let that sink in.
Yep.
Or as I say, let that sizzle in your spirit. Thank you, Country Wayne. But it's like you said, it's just a fact. And I think I said it earlier in the show. When it comes to Bean, you keep panicking. You panic with Ogunjobi. You panic a lot. But some of the times it's masked by the fact that the other players are good, or we can hide this player that you panicked on. But a lot of times, no.
Yeah. Sinke says McD wants to build talent. He doesn't know how to handle pure talent, the attitudes, the egos. He wants to build their confidence backwards coaching.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say it. It's lazy coaching. It's lazy coaching.
Ask Mike Tomlin what he said.
Exactly. if you don't have a desire to seek those guys out who most teams would consider to be a risk, or most teams would think of it's going to take a lot to get that guy in line. Like and I'm not saying like you have to have a team full of those dudes, but if you're worried about one or two of them being in your building, the issue is not the player. The issue is your mentality. The issue is you don't want to have to deal with personalities that are not in line with yours.
Mm-hmm.
That's really what it is. Because when you read the Tyler Dunn report and you see all of the issues that McDermott had with the team, real men don't wear Jordans. Real men wear Carhartts. Okay, so they took the Carhartts and I think it was who was it? It was Mitch Morse that drew the Jordan sign on a Carhartt jacket. Like just to get back at Sean. Like these are the things that he really was trying to put into place. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And these are like this was his expectation of the players. Like, fall in line with what I want to see, or you're not going to be here. But that isn't just about football. That's about personality type. That's about likes and dislikes. That's about what are you going to get into in your off time. Like the idea of Josh inviting everybody over to the house, to hang out, and the team, being as close as it is and always spending time together and all that kind of stuff. If I may be so frank to say this way, in a sense, if I wanted to talk about the dark side of that perception, mm-hmm. that the dark side of that perception could easily be taken as Sean McDermott wants that particular culture to keep these guys out of the city and out of potential trouble and doing a bunch of other stuff not with the team. You know what I'm saying? If you had a team full of guys that, you know, they were good, but they weren't that close. We've seen what that looks like. We've seen Marcel Darius go out and drag race. We've seen Marshawn Lynch talk about how often he got pulled over, you know, driving to the stadium and driving from the stadium. Like these are all things that we've seen players on the team, you know, deal with in a different culture, a regular culture, I'll say. Just a regular Buffalo Bills locker room culture, right? Whereas this locker room culture, nobody gets in trouble. Why? Because they're always at Josh Allen's house.
I want to go. Can I come?
You know what I'm saying?
Can I get there?
But if I wanted to find, you know, something wrong with that, that's what I would say. And I'm not saying that that's what I'm trying to do, but I'm simply trying to point out that there are pros and cons to every decision that this coaching staff and personnel staff make. And what it really comes down to is just our perception of it. And I think what we try to bring out on this show is we need to kind of come from either side to the median so that we're seeing things as clear as possible. Because what the philosophy is on defensive line, what the philosophy is in the secondary, getting these, you know, smart, savvy, slower, you know, defensive backs that can't stick with the speedy guys. What do you think is going to happen this year when the Bengals come back with 2 number 1 wide receivers that just got paid big time deals and they're throwing all over the yard? You don't think we're going to have to see them in the playoffs? Yeah. I mean, they went and fixed their offensive line.
Yeah, only thing you can hope is that they get hurt. That's the only thing. I mean, and that's sad, but that's the only thing you really can do. With this iteration of defense. I mean, people could say go get Max Harrison or you know the case that's to get the cornerback from Kentucky that ran a 4.38 or whatever the case may be. I'm gonna do a write up on him later tonight, just so you guys be aware. I don't know. Let me know. Last night I tried another format to this thing. Let me know which way you like to see it. First and foremost, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go over to our YouTube page. If you're not subscribed there, please do and like it for whatever reason.
At the Post Podium Podcast.
Yep, Post Podium Podcast. You'll find my face.
You got to make sure you put because there was another like really older show that was like
it was racing. That ain't us. No. But no, it's oh yeah. By the way, while I'm here, Delonda Jalot, you are the 600th person to subscribe to the channel. Hey, so you got. She chose a sweatshirt. I said we were gonna make you a book bag just for you. She's like, I'll take the sweatshirt. Whatever. Cool. Okay. You know, even easier. I know which one she's going to order it later. But yeah. So you're, you know, if you're watching, cool. I know you're supposed to be at work, so do something.
I'm loving these McDermott names.
It's crazy. And you know what I did also while we're on the show, I was actually texting T. We're going to Elmo's on Saturday. I forgot to tell her.
Oh,
I was so excited that I had the place to myself with my wings on my game. I forgot to tell her that we were doing stuff on Saturday.
Forgot about our plans.
Right. I was going to be there.
Yeah.
She's okay, cool. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Billy D says flex 335 and get to work.
I saw it a while ago and I was conceptualizing in my brain. What do you think about how would that even work? How would that look with this iteration of our defense?
If the 335, well, we would still need a one tech. We need a nose tackle in a 335.
I think you definitely get that. Yep.
I think if we ran a 335 with Rousseau, whoever the nose tackle is going to be, and Bosa, I would really like to see what that looks like with I would put Matt Milano in the middle at that point in a 335. And I would have Bernard play weak side, but then at that point you could put Michael Hoyt in there, and you can really do some nice things with some blitzes and some zone blitzes and stuff like that to play around with the offensive line. I think that would be cool.
If you did that, I was thinking, I would have Rousseau as a stand up, and I don't have Hoyt in there. That's the got you because I have Ed Oliver starting at the 4. The 4 or 5-ish.
Okay.
Then you need your nose tackle and you know, I guess you could do Bosa could play. He could play defensive in there because he's not a fast rusher.
Only reason I say Hoyt is because Hoyt is more of a stand-up type of player than Rousseau is.
Rousseau did it in college. So
Rousseau could benefit from doing that on the inside for sure.
He still stands up though. He goes into 2-point stance a lot. Now I think he did that working with Vaughn.
Probably.
But conceptually I like it. I would love to have, you know, the linebacker out there that we didn't, so that might be Yeah, I mean, it could work. It could work, but it's how you work it. Really, what it is just taking out Tyrion Johnson or putting him in as a safety or something like that. That's the only really difference. Because you think about it, we already run. If you run the 4-2, the 4-2 just take a defensive end off the line, move him back into the into a 2 point, and then you have 3 linebackers as opposed to Tyrion Johnson. So that's what you got to do.
Yeah, that's really all it is. Yeah, that's a good point. Derek says McDermott's philosophy: play 2 deep safeties, allow the team to run, hope they make a mistake on the way. You can't expect to bail out like you like last year, not against good teams. Yeah, I mean that's one of the things, and I think Whittle was bringing this out in terms of pass rush going against the better quarterbacks in the league, like Lamar Jackson and Pat Mahomes and those guys. That was one of the reasons why I wasn't big on bringing Greg Rousseau back, because the pressure thing doesn't affect the good quarterbacks. You need sacks. Like what affected Mahomes and got him to throw those interceptions was actually getting brought down like two times before he threw the first interception. Like once he saw that they could touch him, then it was, I got to hurry up and get the ball out because we might be stuck with a loss in terms of yardage. And if we get thrown off in our yardage situations, now all of a sudden the flow of our offense is off. And that's something that's really big in Kansas City. Like they focus really hard on making third down as easy as possible. Right. And one of the things that Andy Reid is great at scheming up is those plays that'll get you 4 yards a play. If they can do that on first and second down, now they're at a 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1. And it's easy. There's so much stuff that they have built into their offense that it's almost impossible to stop them on 3rd and 1. We've seen that. Yeah. So, that's the importance of getting a guy that can bring the quarterback down as opposed to relying on pressures. I mean, the idea of this defense's philosophy is the defensive line creates pressure. That gets the ball out sooner than it needs to be and allows the secondary to capitalize with turnovers. But what gets in the way of that is the defensive line doesn't get pressure fast enough, and the secondary can't cover that long because they're slower and not as athletic. And so guys get open. And then it becomes a broken system because you're now just trying to, not give up the big play.
And to that point, I think we need to understand as Bills fans, in order to be a dominant defense, you have to give up big plays, because when you're giving up big plays, that means you're being aggressive.
Exactly.
And things are going to, but see, that's when you got James. That's why you pay James Cook money. That's why you pay Josh money. That's why you pay all these guys money, because they're the ones that mitigate the risk that you take when you're blitzing. And I like Whittle's point. Williams would cook in a 3-3-5. Yes, he would. Dwayne Williams would be a monster in a 3-3-5.
For sure.
He might be a Pro Bowler in a 3-3-5. McDermott don't want that because that means you got to pay him like a Pro Bowler.
Yep.
And to Kevin's point, he played. Let's see. He said, "I don't remember Hoyt doing anything against us when he played with the Rams. If you look at the last game, he played 36 snaps, did not register a stat.
Mm-hmm. He had several games last season like that where he didn't do anything. He barely got in the game, or when he was in the game, he didn't do anything." But he also had like 2 games where he had 3 sacks, and I think he had a total of six sacks or something like that last season, if I'm not mistaken. So he can pop here and there, but I think in our defense, what I'm looking at is him stepping in as a linebacker in that Lorenzo Alexander type of role. If you got to get big boys on the field, to play against a Derrick Henry, I'm sorry, I want Dorian Williams and Hoyt out there on the field in key running situations at linebacker. And if they got it covered, we've seen Michael Hoyt can cover. He played nickel corner on defense. You know what I'm saying? So that him and Williams would be the guys that I want out there as much as possible at linebacker. Even if that means we give up a little bit more in the passing game. I mean, get better corners, get better safeties. You just got it's part of it. I'm tired of trying to cover up deficient talent, and that's something that Buffalo has to realize. And then why I made a call to effort is a call to action for Buffalo fans is just that. When you get cooked every once in a while, I don't want to hear, "Oh, we told you so. This isn't gonna." No, it works, because guess what? If you go ahead and get you some talent, you're going to have more interceptions from one player. You're going to have somebody cutting off half the field. You're going to have a defensive end that gets to the quarterback by himself. Yeah. That's what happens. You look at Philly's defense. Look at Cleveland's defense. They weren't even a winning team. I wonder why. You think they never got beat? They still made it up in the back end. They still do. Yeah. All right. I want to get to the Kendrick Green signing because I think this is another one of those moves that when I saw this morning, excuse me. First of all, Kendrick Green coming here from the Texans last season, and before that, he was drafted in the 3rd round by the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yep.
6'3", 310-pound center.
Yep.
This guy he's probably going to be a third string. No, he'd probably be a 4th string center. But I think they're bringing this guy in to be that Patrick Ricard type fullback player.
Well, he'd be a 3rd string center because we don't have, who was it? Will Clapp was on the practice squad last year. So
yeah, but you got Anderson as the backup center, and then they got Van
is he still a center? Okay.
Well, I mean, I
don't know. I don't know where he is.
Still listed as?
Yeah, I don't know where he is. You're right.
Yeah.
But yeah, to the point, if you look at this, what's his name again?
Kendrick Green.
Kendrick Green. If you look at Kendrick Green, you don't look at PFF. Don't.
It's not great.
It's atrocious. I mean, everybody talk about how James Cook can't pass block. His score is twice as high as Kendrick Green. Now, Kendrick Green was asked to play guard. He was a center. He got beat out. He was a center again. He got beat out, and he got moved to guard where he was no good.
Yeah.
So that closed the door on that right away.
Yeah. So I mean, the Kendrick Green signing is another one of those. So Kendrick Green, if you go back and look at his what he did the combine, he's another one of those ultra athletic RAS score guys, right? And for what he brings to the table in terms of athleticism, he probably is going to be better served as a fullback. Now, the issue that I take with that, if you're not going to bring this guy in as a fullback, what the heck is he doing here? Who's he going to beat out? And why do you need this guy as a depth piece? You know what I'm saying? Like the way that he was used in Houston was mostly a fullback. The way that he was used out of position in Pittsburgh, I mean, this guy is not good at what his position says he does, right? He's not good as a pass blocker. He's all right as a run blocker, but as a lineman, he does not have value for this team, right? So if this guy doesn't have value as a lineman, you've already got a fullback. You thought it was great to bring Gilliam back, and then you sign why are you signing this guy? Oh, well, he's a depth piece. Where?
I think he's developmental. I was listening to Joe Marino earlier today. Was talking about Kendrick Green
at 26.
Yeah, because what it is I think they're expecting Osiris Torrance to price himself out. Now, they said
don't say that, please.
No,
don't
seriously.
Say that.
Joe Marino surmised that Osiris Torrance is going to be making well north of $20 million on his next contract. And I mean, I don't know if people are paying $20 million for a guard. Obviously somebody is, but I don't know how common it's going to be when he's up, which is what, next year. So you look at you got David Edwards over here, you got Osiris Torrance over here, and you really don't have much after that because they're probably not interested in sending Van Pran Granger to the guard position. They really want to be a center, but in order to do so, you have to figure out what you're going to do with McGovern. Are you comfortable letting him go? Are you comfortable bringing Van Pran Granger in? Eventually. Or are you going to try to force him into the guard? I mean, this team they're notorious for it. Look at the rugby player they brought over from England.
Yeah.
We've said on this show many times he should be a D tackle. 6'7", 301. I saw him in person.
Yeah.
He's not imposing. He's tall. His lower half is stacked. He could almost probably get away with playing a nose tackle, honestly.
Yeah.
But this team wants to shove you into a position that you don't need to be in. And they want when you can't do it, they're like, well, he sucks.
Right. I mean, I guess what it comes down to for my perspective on the Buffalo Bills move so far is there doesn't seem to be a widely agreeable reason that makes sense behind any of these moves, aside from these are guys that fit the culture and they fill a role.
I am excited about Laviska Shenault, just the fact he came in there with his hat on, like up here, like way over. Did you see him in his?
Yeah.
I was like, this is unsettling. This is very, but I'm telling you, I don't know if you ever heard the song, the DMX.
I don't think he's gonna make it, bro.
Well, if you ever heard the DMX song, I think it's Haters or something like that.
Mhm.
But Here Comes the Boom,
Mhm.
that's Chenault. Chenault is gonna hurt somebody. I mean,
Okay.
and the thing is,
As a kick returner,
no, I think
you
more
think
so
they're gonna let him play wide receiver?
no, I think more so he'd be more of that rotational outside guy. You know, the way he plays, his game actually puts heat on Curtis Samuel. They play the exact same kind of game, only to me, he's better. Why do I say that?
Yeah.
Because if you look at the routes that he runs the Shakir routes. So he runs the slot routes. He's very physical. He catches, his hands are strong. His body he's built like, let's see, how big was Anquan Bolden? Anquan Bolden was
6'1", 220.
Okay, so this guy is 6'1", 230. And he makes them pass talk. And he don't go down. You got to knock him out of bounds, and he'll talk to you about it. So I think you get value out of those little what do you call it, those umbrella sweeps and stuff like that they run, because that's what he did in Carolina. Now you got to compound the fact who his quarterbacks were: Mike Glennon, what's the other guy? Gardner Minshew. I mean, Geno Smith, cool, but he was only a kick return man. And they asked him, what happened? His rookie year, he had a great rookie year. He had 50-something catches for 600-something yards, touchdown. He was on his way. And then after that, he said, you know what? I can't really speak on it. He said, both of my first 2 years, they clean house both times. He said, my first head coach, the whole staff, gone. Second head coach, whole staff, gone. They didn't want me in their system. I didn't fit their system. But I can see where he fits what we do in that short intermediate everybody eats game, because he sits down in the zones. He knows how to be physical at the point of attack. You're not knocking him off his pivot. And then when he has the ball in his hands, he's a running back. So will he make the team? Maybe not. But I think he's definitely somebody that on this team would definitely eat. I really do.
Yeah, no, look, at that size with that ability, I remember you talking about him when he was in the draft. I hope he makes the team.
Tell him what you texted me. That was hilarious.
I don't even remember what I said.
You were like,
what did I say?
LaVisca freaking Chenault. I said, he's like, didn't you want this dude in the draft? I'm like, yo, chill out.
I was about to crash out, bro. Like the idea that they're getting these guys after they've already declared to the league that they're not worth the investment. You know what I'm saying? And when I say they're not worth the investment, I mean they're not worth, like, teams aren't chasing these guys down trying to get them in the building. You know what I'm saying? These guys are, just these bargain basement guys that you find around the league that are, just bouncing around now. You know what I'm saying? I'll go where there's an opportunity, and if I get one, great, but it's probably not going to be that big of a role.
I don't even know what you said this time. But anyway, I have no idea what you said.
Yeah, I don't know what I said.
What did I say
wrong? You said bouncing around. Pause.
What? I can't say. How is bouncing around?
I don't even know, dude. I'm lost. Everything I said is going to be.
You cover basketball, don't you?
I do.
They bounce balls for a living, don't they?
Pause.
What?
Anyway. Chenault, Silas says Chenault lost me when he ran a slow 40. You know who he didn't lose? Brandon Bino. He was like, was that? I mean, it really was it really slow for somebody that's 6'1", 230? He ran a 4.52.
Yeah.
That's I mean,
that's good for that size.
That's good for that size.
Yeah.
I mean, you got Keon Coleman. Did you lose Keon Coleman when he ran a 4.6? I mean, come on now.
Right.
Yeah, I mean that's what about Gabe Davis? What did he run? He ran a 4.6, 4.58.
He ran 4.58.
4.6. Fine. Fine.
You're a hater.
I am a hater. But no, I think, and I Chenault, when I sat back and looked at him in this system, I sat back and watched Josh Palmer in this system, I'm like, okay, I can see it. And that, and I had more to talk about, but I don't want to close out your thought on this because I had another thing to expound upon with this.
Okay, so real quick, I want to get to Bully's comment. He says nobody was chasing Mac Hollins last year. That's a good point in terms of the concept, right? But again, on this show, we ask the why. Why was Mac Hollins good? Because he played with Josh Allen. Same reason John Brown became good. Same reason, everybody else that comes here as a receiver does well. I mean, we Josh Allen got Gabe Davis $14 million. We could just park the whole conversation right there.
Mhm.
Like, nobody here thought Gabe Davis was worth $14 million.
Josh Allen, honestly, Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. Because it's like, oh, this Josh, Stephen, what's his name again? You can come.
Right. I mean, no, Stephon Diggs was not. He wasn't a national name like he became when he came here and played with Josh. He was good, and I think a lot of people that knew football then knew he was good, especially because of the Minnesota Miracle.
Yeah.
But even before that, people, if you watched Minnesota football at all, you would see, hey, their number 2 receiver can ball.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So, for Diggs to come here and play with Josh, I mean, pretty much anybody. So I think if Shenault can get an opportunity, we'll see him make plays. Everybody does with Josh.
Mm-hmm.
My thing is, I don't want receivers coming to Buffalo to try and make money off of Josh. And when I say guys who are coming here to make money off of Josh, I mean guys that are coming here to make a name by playing with Josh. Like the fact that Mac Hollins got a deal, probably, he's probably going to play wide receiver for the Giants.
Patriots.
Oh, I'm sorry, the Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably going to play receiver for them this coming season because of what he did here. He showed the league he can be an impact player with a good quarterback. So now there's a team out there that's looking at him like, oh, maybe he can come help my rookie wide receiver. You know what I'm saying? Or second year wide receiver, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But the point I'm trying to make with all this is, no disrespect to Josh Palmer, but he's a guy that's coming here looking to make a name for himself here in Buffalo, because he's not a league-wide name. He's a good player, but it's different when you bring a guy like DK Metcalf in and he's already a name coming in. He's already a guy that is torn the league up coming in. You know what I'm saying? Like, those are the guys that I'm looking for to come to this town and do what they've done with the team they were with before us. Come do that here.
Can you put Columbus Bullies last comment up, please?
Where is it? Well done, sir.
No, see,
well done.
To your point, I like your point, but I get to say it. I contend this. I never say that. Yes, it felt good. I know why you say it now.
Okay.
If you're coming to Buffalo to make a name for yourself,
mm-hmm.
if you're hungry enough that you want to get paid somewhere, that makes us better to me. Because you figure you're gonna come in and ball out. Okay. Whether it's Josh and I don't care what's your pocket. You ain't giving me no dollars. So if you come into Buffalo and you ball out, get a Pro Bowl season out of Josh, or if Josh gets another MVP off you, I don't care, because that means we're better.
Okay.
And I get it in the long scheme, but I'm talking about a 1-year deal where Palmer goes on and plays for Atlanta for $20 million after going 1,500 yards here. He's not going to, but you know what I mean.
You're gonna be mad at your own point, just so you know.
I am.
Yeah. Here's why. Because I like the perspective,
mm-hmm.
but here's what that perspective does. It gives the team the ability to say, well, it don't matter who we sign because we got Josh Allen.
I'm already there. Well, see, yeah, I mean, that's
like
true.
These guys that are coming here to make their name, they're coming here because Josh Allen.
Well, they can. Some people will say it's a scheme. Especially so I don't really care what it is.
Complex scheme on both sides of the football. Apparently,
it's difficult. I don't. Honestly, I don't care what it is. Just get me to the promised land.
Yeah.
If you give me I'll wear a Josh Allen jersey for those of you at home. I'm not a Josh Allen stan. I like him, but I'm not. He's not. He's not my Messiah. So
blaspheming now.
I know. So that's full disclosure. Why I talk the way I do. Do I love having him on the team? Absolutely. I love having pretty much everybody on the team that we have.
To be clear, Keyshawn likes traditional quarterback play. Mm-hmm. He likes guys that are throwing for 5,000 yards a season from the pocket. Like, he don't you dare leave that pocket and start throwing passes behind the back, and you stand back there like Drew Brees and you just deliver dimes just on the money. Boom, boom, boom.
Just chucking it. Oh man,
that is Key's quarterback style. So that's why the Josh Allen thing is not so big. It's not nothing against Josh.
It ain't nothing against Josh at all. No,
it's just it's a philosophical thing.
Yeah, I just so I love Brady. Well, had he not been in New England, yes, that would have been the kind of guy I would have liked.
Yeah.
Peyton Manning was actually probably Peyton Manning was my favorite quarterback, more than likely. Standing back there, just being the maestro of the whole offense. Everybody bows down to him, and I love that. I'll even go as far as to say, it's a mastery. If you take sole control of this team, of any team, and your voice is heard, and you don't care if it's your best friend, you're going to tear him a new one. I like that.
Yeah. Steve says, you right. Why buy tickets when you have Bean and McDermott? New hoodie idea. McDermott plus Bean, good enough to not be good enough. Go Bills. Shout out to Pagula too. I want to get to, let me see if I can find it.
While you do that, why was I a Kyle Orton fan? Not at all. Kyle Orton just showed up with dip in his mouth and smoking cigars on the sideline. Hated the guy.
Wait a minute. Yeah, what?
Dip in his mouth.
Oh my God.
How was that? It's literally whatever.
I'm just messing with you.
It's literally like every 20-25 minutes now we get a pause moment.
I'm just messing with y'all.
Might as well put some ads in these sections here. But I'm kidding.
I need a shirt that says pause.
Yo, okay.
Make one for me.
I'm doing it.
Yes.
I'm gonna make
You know what we should do?
What?
Oh, I should be a caricature of his face. Pause.
Yes,
okay.
like pause.
Caricature. Yo, the way he just
like
yes.
16
Oh,
all right. That's coming down the pike. All right. Bone says, you guys think we trade up in the first?
Actually, I put that up on the on my Twitter. If you guys like to, talk draft or whatever. I think I tried to tag you, and I think I ran out of characters, so that's fine. But no, I if Matthew Golden is there at 22 or so, if there's a run on those kind of guys, yes, we'll trade up. But I don't want to trade up just to trade up. I want to trade up for a certain thing, not because we're afraid that we won't get what we, the position that we wanted when we wanted it.
Mm-hmm.
So I will not. They're always going to tell you he was number one on our board. He was the next person on our board, whatever the case may be. We had to take him, whatever. But I subscribe to that limited, very limited. Matthew Golden is the kind of player where you would do that for.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't expect it to be a huge move. I mean, for where the Bills are now in their build, I still think what they want to do is they want to load up on as many up and coming players, young players as possible, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you look at the team now, last year it was very top heavy, right, in terms of age. The guys that are filling key roles on the team, and their age relative to the average age at the position. You know what I'm saying? So I would expect the Bills to move up no more than 5 spots, but like you said, there would have to be like a irresistible guy there that had no business falling that far.
Right.
And the hard part for that is the Bills' perception on talent usually excuses those guys who drop, and people look at this player that dropped and they're like, holy crap, we got to get him. I can't believe he dropped this far. Like, the Bills are they're still not looking at those guys,
mm-hmm. because
they're looking through that lens of, is this guy a locker room guy? What's his lifestyle like? Is he going to come here and be a nuisance in the community? Is he going to, get pulled over? Is he going to get arrested for fighting at bars? Does he party too much? Like, those are the things that they're focused on. They're trying to bring guys here that are going to represent the team well in the community, as the singular, I don't want to say the singular focus, but as the primary focus of who they bring in, as opposed to, this guy can help us win games. You
know what's hilarious about this?
What?
What flies in the face of the Bills? You got to think about all the players that the Bills fans, the Bills Mafia before it was Mafia, who they laud. I can't think of one choir boy that they laud as Buffalo lore. Let's peel the layers back to this. Jim Kelly,
mm-hmm.
Thurman Thomas,
Andre
Reed,
yep.
Bruce Smith, Cornelius Bennett, Darryl Talley, What am I naming? All these guys had problems, whether it was up here, legal, or in the streets.
Yep.
But the Bills fans love them to this day.
Yep.
McDermott isn't getting the memo. You bring in good players, the fans are going to back you. The fans are they're gonna slide that stuff in their tape. You think all these guys that are good players for the Bills are not getting tickets? They're sliding. When I played Little League, not Little League, when I played semi-pro, you get a traffic ticket in that neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you play for them? Rip it up. Semi-pro.
Wow.
So you think these guys that everybody thinks are choir boys are doing nothing wrong? No, it's just who do they decide to rip it up and throw it under the rug? So when you're talking about the culture, when you're talking about the locker room, there are people on this team right now that people hate their guts. I can tell you that for a fact. For fact, I know this. I got sources.
Whose guts getting hated?
Well, he's not here anymore, but I can tell you. Shall I say it? I can tell you number one.
You don't have to say who hates him, just who.
No, public enemy number one.
Yeah.
We'll say as much as last year. Von Miller.
Really?
Oh.
Really?
Oh. Public enemy number one.
I mean, anything in particular he did, or just his personality?
Well, holier than thou. He won't talk to you.
What?
The girlfriend, and I'll bite my tongue on this for a long time, but the girlfriend that went through this with him, just as bad.
Wow.
I've seen them fight in front of their kids. I've seen him walk away from his nanny with the kids and say, I don't want to be around them. I've seen it.
Wow.
So when people say, oh, no, it's a front. And that's why I sit on here and I tell you guys, don't get caught up in it, because for you that don't know, I work around a lot of higher people, and what I do, I'm not one of them, and they look at some of us as such, and so there are, like I said, I've seen Josh, I've seen Spencer, I've seen Ed, I've seen all these guys, but the thing is, some of them will talk to you, and honestly, Josh don't really talk to you. He'll give you a thumbs up, he'll wave, but they all try to be inconspicuous, which I appreciate and I respect. But see, on the back end of this, I've been doing what I do for almost 20 years. You don't impress me because you're Jim Kelly, because Jim Kelly's one of the nicest cats now that there is. Believe it or not. After, his son, after all the stuff he went through, 180. He did a whole 180. Mm-hmm. When I see James Kelly, I'm like, yo, this is gonna be all right. It's gonna be all right. And that's the thing when it comes to I try to look at me that way. I'm sorry. But when I come to,
because Tommy's big. Tommy's up.
I'm trying to get where Tommy is.
Right.
But this thing is when you hold them that high, McDermott can pull the wool. He can say he's pulling the wool over anybody's eyes that he wants, but guess what? He's not, because if your players play, if your players are good, the rest of the league will take care of that.
Yep.
They'll take care of that. You won't go to jail. These guys, their stories that, and you old Bills fans, not calling you old as in like age, but the guys that go in back years with Bruce, stories.
Tenured fans.
Well, stories. There's stories I can't even say on this that I've heard and I know for fact.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say who it was and what it was and who it was with, but I know for a fact.
I've had. There was a lady I was talking to. She was like, Jim Kelly was a douchebag back in the day. I couldn't believe. I was like, Jim? Nah, come on. Yeah.
And I told you I started 20 years ago. I dealt with him in that regard even 20 years ago. But as life changes, so did he found his faith, and
that's right.
But he's a good dude now. Bickering Bills, yes.
Yeah.
And those guys will, some of them, if you don't treat them like they're the Buffalo Bills from the 90s, we brought you this championship. And that's why they didn't like me, because I've seen these people. I've seen, Danny Glovers and people like that. So I look at you as a regular person, and some of them appreciate it. But then the bickering Bills, they want you to be like, I brought this raggedy city this. You didn't bring me. Almost cursed. You didn't bring me anything because you didn't finish the job. What Kobe say? Job done. What's there to be happy about? Job ain't done. Is the job done?
Exactly.
You didn't win the Super Bowl.
Yep. Job's not finished.
It's not finished. You didn't win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You were good enough. You were almost. That's your legacy. You're almost.
Right.
So don't come in my face the whole year than now, Mr. Reed, Mr. Whoever. You are Mr. Kelly, Reed, Thomas, all of them. I'll give you that respect, but don't come in my face like I sat here and I'm supposed to say, "Oh, can I have your autograph?" And no, I don't.
But you know what though? You know what's funny about that is that was a team full of dogs.
That's what I'm getting at. Yep.
And let's just be perfectly clear and perfectly real in this moment right now. If I'm the best in the world at what I do, if I'm the best pass rusher in Bruce Smith, or if I'm top 5 in the league in quarterbacks and Jim Kelly in that era, and I'm living in little old Buffalo, like I'm not saying that for sure I'm walking around like my ish don't stink, but I'm also not going to operate like I'm not one of the best in the world. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying? Like, and I guess what I'm really trying to get to is we can't have an expectation of these players that put in all this time and energy and focus and sacrifice all the other stuff that's part of having a regular life in order to be the greatest. We can't have an expectation of these guys to also be the best person in the world too. Like, there's a sacrifice that comes with being the best. Mm-hmm. And it may not always be personality. There's some guys that are the best in the league they have great personalities, mm-hmm. but not everybody's like that. Mm-hmm. And I think the idea that we have to make sure that all of the best players on this team are also the best people is asinine.
It is, because you think about us. I mean, us. What you see here, my mom's watching, my aunt and uncle's watching. Do I curse? Yes, I do.
Yeah.
But I don't hear, because I don't know who's watching. I know you guys don't all appreciate that.
Yeah.
Some people fly F-bombs. I'm being professional. And Roy, no, this isn't sodium. This is truth. I'm being professional, and it's a level that I'm bringing. And I treat you guys, you could say, and nobody in here is saying it, but you could say the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Tommy, you're a damn lie, bro.
Right, there you go. I've seen your show. I was on your show. No, it's all love. I and like I said, my personal life, I do too. I just try not to hear. Yeah. But it's the thing is if you want to treat people like good people, I gotta respect you if you're the janitor. I gotta respect you if you're homeless. I gotta respect you if you're a business tycoon.
Yeah.
You get the same love from me, and that's the way I treat you. So at my job, when you're premium or platinum, I'm like, man, just the hell with that. The hell with that. You're just like him. Why should he have to wait because you come here more than he does?
Right.
I'm giving him the same experience I give you, and that's how I try to treat everybody. In personal life and professional life. I don't look down on anybody. So you see a comment here is like, what does that even mean? I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to try to answer it.
Right.
And that's part of the show. That's what the lore. Nobody here says anything stupid. Like you watch some other podcasts, some other shows, some other radio shows, they'll belittle you. I'm not. Yeah. This is a safe space. And I hope nobody in the comments belittles anybody. We get people in here that shoot the fair ones with other people, but they know they're doing it.
Yeah.
We're not doing it.
Anytime I get out of line on this show, I know Laura going to text me.
Oh, yeah, Laura going to let you know. Hey, that was out of pocket. That was crazy.
No, we got people like I have no issue with that. Like the idea is this though. The idea is you want balance.
Mm-hmm.
Like everything in life is about balance. And once you start getting so heavily into one thing that causes you to sacrifice 4 other things that could help you for the sake of making sure that this one thing is held on to and stuck to and adhered to and lived through,
mm-hmm.
that's where the distortion of reality comes into play, because now you're not, it's impossible for anyone to be objective when they're that hard in their stance on one singular philosophy. And look, this is not to say that Sean McDermott is how can I say this? I don't want to say he needs to change his philosophy every single year and just try to change with the times. I'm simply trying to say, like,
I love it. You saw it too, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Joe Brown says, "Hey, where can I get Reed's tea? I don't drink tea, but that's some good stuff." Joe, we're gonna have you do the read, bro. You're gonna do the read today when we go to end the show. No, but like that's kind of my point, is that if if you see that a philosophy is not, we're starting to go in circles now. I really want to get past this conversation, but if you see that something is not working, you got to have a mindset to make adjustments. And it can't be, okay, well, we're gonna go out next year and we're gonna try to find a different type of player to fill the same role. Joey Bosa.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Different player, same role. He's going to come in and he's expected to be the difference maker on the defensive line. Okay, what if he gets hurt? Oh, well, it's only a 1-year deal. You still wasted whatever games he's not going to play in.
Yep.
Right? And on top of that, it's only a 1-year deal. Okay, fine. He's 29 years old. How much better do you expect him to get over the rest of his career? He's on the downside.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And he said that.
Right. So my thing is, in a draft where you have so many good defensive linemen, you felt the need to go and pay a guy $15 million because you don't want to trust a rookie?
It's tough. And that's the thing. You know, I can respect somebody who does that, who goes out and tries and fails. Like you said, okay, we got who we have last year. We got Vine and we got Javon Solomon. It didn't work. Let's try something different. Let's go to the draft and see what they got. Mm-hmm. Ooh, I like this piece. Now I'll go to the free agency. Do we have anybody that we can have a backup, make a backup out of for this guy? Yeah. Defense. But see, this team, like he said, we like to have our ducks in a row before we go to the draft. That's not how this works. It's not how this works. You might get one, maybe two big splashes. And I'm not talking Von Miller $120 million splashes. There's a reason why he was available, at that age, especially at that big. And that's the thing. Every time
he didn't even expect to be released like that.
No,
he said that.
And when people say bring him back, this is the door still open. Do you understand how the salary cap works?
He'll take a lesser deal. Okay, so we're paying him both to not be on the team and to be on the team at the same
simultaneously.
Time. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way. I mean, you could do it, and they could. I was talking to my friend about that, and he was like, "See, I told you, Key." I said, "I didn't say they couldn't. I said it'd be dumb."
Right.
It'd just be dumb, and that goes into to my other thing with Stephon Diggs. He said Stephon Diggs wants to come back. I said, okay. Heavy on says they think so too, and this is my thing. What did I say the whole time he was here on this show? Stephon Diggs cryptic? No, Stephon Diggs knows he can play with y'all, so he does it. Does he want to come back to Buffalo? Dowdy wants to.
He would if they called him.
For sure. Dowdy wants to. But no. This is my pitch to Stephon Diggs. Take it or leave it. Then I would make this pitch. We're drafting a rookie, a high rookie. We need somebody that has route running ability. Mm-hmm. You have a blown ACL. We got a top-notch facility that you can work out in. We'll rehab you. Mm-hmm. We'll pay you decent if you help our young guys. And then you can go on somewhere and make your money. We'll get you there and go make your money.
Yep.
If Stephon Diggs at 31 years old, 32, whatever he is, we'll either say yes or no. I'm not holding my feet to the fire over it, but that's our offer. You want to come back? You want to rehab with Josh and a real quarterback and a real offense? Come do it. But we're not paying you $20 million. We're not paying you $10 million. We'll give you 5 over 1, 5 for a year. That's what we'll give you to rehab you.
I think in that case, I would, because I mean you he's not going to play till
right.
What 7, somewhere about 7, 8 maybe.
Yeah,
at least,
at best, yeah,
right. And that's just practice. That's not playing in a game,
right?
Like he'll start practicing around week 7. He probably won't play till week 10 or 11, right? Coming off an ACL.
Yeah.
So, and if I'm not mistaken, I don't think he's had this kind of injury before either with a knee.
Nope.
So, first time dealing with this kind of injury. His mentality is such that he can come back from this and still be good and productive, even at his age. But
Donnie, what's good with you, man? Good Lord.
Right. He going ham. But for me, I think for Diggs, it's more likely to me that this is him playing games to try and still get a contract with the Cowboys. Because he still wants to play with his brother. That's still first on the list,
absolutely.
Right? If him doing this not backfires, but if the secondary outcome of him doing this is the Bills calling him and saying, hey, what do you think about it, blah, 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 I think he would be open to it. Mm-hmm. But what gets in the way of that is Diggs's desire to win a certain way. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And is that going to change with him coming back here? No, probably not, because he still wants to, help the team win. He still wants to be out on the field. And we don't know if Sean McDermott is going to be willing to put him out there and put him back in any type of similar, role where he's playing a prominent role on offense, therefore giving him a prominent role in the locker room.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So as much as people want to romanticize the idea, I think the relationship is still too broken.
Oh yeah, for sure.
For something like that to work.
Yeah, I like you said, you hit it right on the head. I think it's just them playing. Or him playing, you know what I mean? And the thing is, what did he do? I didn't find it. I didn't even see it. Like, who's looking at this stuff? That means somebody's really invested in this man's life to notice what he's done on his social media. I don't have that kind of time. And Stephon Diggs he just unarchived it. So it went back where it was. It didn't pop to the top. It wasn't on my news feed all day. Somebody actually looked into his pictures and said, oh, the Bill stuff is there. What does this mean? And Diggs is like, got him again. Yep. I'm not even there anymore. I live rent free in their brains. And yeah, is he a butthole? I've dealt with him. He's not certified grade A. Mm-hmm. He's not the best person, but neither am I. Catch me on a bad day without my coffee. It's going to be bad. And I'm going to apologize later.
Right. So Tommy says, if it was up to me, we sign McDermott to a lifetime contract.
Where you get that from?
Wait a minute.
That was excellent.
That was spot on.
It was.
No.
Excellent.
No, bro. Now you're just trolling.
Listen, everybody. The co-host gets a star for that one because that was spot on.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
I like that one.
All right. That was one of my sounds I got here on this new board. Oh my gosh, it's been forever. To Bonus Licks. For those of you that don't know, my man T-Bone got the best name I've ever seen in this chat, and that's why he gets the horn every time he comes on. What's going on, man? He says, as much as I love Diggs, we need to get the new blood in the building with Tread to burn. There you go. Not an OG who wasn't as good of a teammate last time he was here. There you go. Yeah. But let's extrapolate that, or let's kind of pull that blanket over the whole team. Mm-hmm. We need to stop focusing on OGs in general.
Yep, somebody said that earlier in the chat somewhere. I saw it. I was going to mention it, but we got pulled off. But they said that's his Band-Aid. They said that's being McDermott's Band-Aid, getting over the past their prime players.
Yeah,
it definitely is.
Nate's final riff. Yeah, exactly. You would never troll, but you did.
Never.
But you did.
You never would.
No, I'm kidding. So said Donnie? Yeah, Donnie says our first pick, same thing. He not even worth a 5th round pick. Talking about Elam. Billy D says you can be a piece, but not the main dish. For Diggs, that's.
See, that's where that $5 million. That's why I said $5 million or something like that. If he signs something that lets you know $5 million on 1 year, he knows he's coming. But look what he did.
That's nothing.
But look what he did when he went to Houston.
Yeah,
I want that Stephon Diggs, and he gives you that for 1 year.
Yeah.
Then once he knows if he signed on that dotted line in Buffalo now, he knows I'm not that guy.
Yep.
I'm not the top dog. I'm not coming in to be the difference maker.
Exactly.
And that's what he said when he went there. He was playing slot.
Yeah.
And he was on his way to 100 catches, playing slot. And behind Tank Dell, Nico Collins, and who was the other? It was another guy, I forgot. Mechie and
Nico Collins, Tank Dell, and John Mechie.
Yep. And so he knew what he was getting into, and he still found. See, Stephon Diggs bets on himself. I don't know if you saw. I did see this on Instagram where it was one of his shorts. It said, "Man, I really missed his S," and it was him running routes and stuff like that. He's out there, doing work. And could you imagine Keon Coleman working with him? We don't want Keon Coleman later for that nonsense. Yeah. Later for that nonsense. I don't care what Keon Coleman learns as a man. That's for his mammy and papa to teach him how to be a man. You need to learn football from somebody that's done it. Somebody that should be a Pro Bowl, all pro, possible Hall of Famer.
That's right.
That's why I put you with, and that's why we took you, because we're going to pair you up with somebody that could do that.
Yeah. One of the best pieces of advice I saw was Stevie. I was looking at Stevie Johnson's page today on Twitter, and he posted something with Keon Coleman, and he was saying like he needs to slow down.
Yeah.
Like, that's one of the best pieces of advice for a guy like Keon Coleman right now, because when you look at the way that he played as a rookie, I mean, rookies in general, they're coming out and they're trying to match their perceived speed of the game. The game doesn't slow down for them till right around week 10 or 11 for most guys that are as good as Keon Coleman is mentally, right? The game doesn't really slow down until later on in that first season. For some guys, it's year 2. You know what I'm saying? But those are the types of guys that we need giving advice. Guys who have the time to they're not expected to go out and play every single snap. You know what I'm saying? We need a guy like that to kind of come in and be a coach on the field. That was one of the things I liked about having Von Miller here, outside of the expectation of him being a pass rusher. Was he's in the locker room, he's going to help Greg Rousseau get better as a pass rusher. Yep. He's in the locker room, he's going to help a guy like Javon Solomon. First and foremost, can we stop saying Javon Solomon?
I never did, but yes, I heard somebody say, I'm like
I've heard guys on the radio call him Javon Solomon. Like, can we? It's Javon.
I'm like, is that his name? I'm like, wait, am I
right? Right. Anyway, the idea behind having a locker room coach, so to speak, that's something that we see Sean McDermott do with OG players that are not great. Like, think about what he did with Deion Jones, right? Deion Jones is a good coverage middle linebacker, speed linebacker, but he brought him in when he was so far past his prime. Nobody's looking at the dude like, oh, we got to listen to him. We got to take his advice.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They'll go to the old head for just regular old advice. But I liken it to having a guy like Ray Lewis in the locker room towards the end of his career. Like, he wasn't as good as he was, earlier in his career, but he's still good enough to be an impact player, and he's still freaking Ray Lewis. Like, why can't we get players that turn out like that are here for their entire careers, and they be the guys that, help to school these young bucks and bring them up? And like, who do we have like that right now?
We don't.
Greg Rousseau, Ed Oliver, like they're not such big names in the league that a rookie coming in, can't look at them like, I could take your spot.
Yeah, Deion Dawkins is probably the only one I can think of.
Yeah,
he's probably the only one I can think of to be a
him
mentor.
and Josh. That's it. And if you pay Cook can do it too.
He's on the leadership council. He is. But see, the thing about Cook is that he's young too, and like you said, he's coming into it, but he's going to mentor a guy that's the same age as him and Ray Davis. So you're the same age,
right? Exactly.
What's up, young brother? No, brother, we the same age.
Yeah.
And I was going to say, I don't know if we talk about not on this show. Keon Coleman's interview on a 7 p.m. in Brooklyn podcast with Carmelo Anthony and
no, what did he say?
So basically, he said when he came into the league, he had lofty goals. He thought he was going to get 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns, a big game in the Super Bowl. He said when he first started, he said, I was looking all right. He said, I can do this. And then he got hurt. And he said, the only thing worse than being on the field and not doing something is being off the field and watching somebody basically take your spot. Because he said, when I was on the sideline, he said, I was watching them and it was going fine without me. He said, it was looking better than when I was out there. He said, they're doing stuff that they weren't doing when I was playing, and it's working. He said, so when I came back, I knew I wasn't going to be able to do what I did before. And we looked at the numbers. His numbers didn't fall off that far. But in his mind, he said, who am I to step on somebody else and say, yo, I know it's working, but let me get mine back. So that's why it didn't work for him. When he said, I saw what they did and it worked. And I knew from the sidelines that when I got back in, I wasn't going to be the same before he even played with them.
Wow.
So everybody's poo-pooing on how bad it is. No, he didn't he just didn't know where to fit in after his spot was.
And that's huge
taken.
For a player. Yeah. That's huge for a player. See, these are the types of things that a head coach is supposed to be able to notice and deal with. Immediately. Like, I can imagine a guy like Mike Tomlin, going over to a guy like that and helping him work through that. You know what I'm saying? Sean McDermott, at the very least, can send a team psychologist over to talk to him and have a conversation with the offensive coordinator and say, hey, we got to get this guy involved. We got to get him. You know what I'm saying? We got to get him some receptions. We got to get him involved in the game plan. We got to make him believe again, because he's losing hope. This is a coach's job. But for them to sit there in the end of season press conferences and say they were disappointed in his performance, what do you think that does to his mentality? How the hell do you think Kyer Elam ended up the way that he did? You leave these guys, you hang these guys out to dry, basically.
Yep.
That's what you did with Keon Coleman. You hung him out to dry. He was looking at the team with the addition of Cooper and the improvement as, well, they don't really need me.
Mm-hmm.
And see, this folds over into the same point that we were talking about as far as the expectation on first round picks, because if he's coming in as a second round pick expecting to make an impact on the team, most players picked in the first and second round do.
Mm-hmm.
So if they have that expectation, and most teams around the league have that expectation, and then they aren't put in a position to succeed, and they have to look at the team do better without him after they traded and got Amari Cooper in here, and now they're doing some different things that they didn't do when Keon Coleman was here because they have Amari Cooper and because they have tape now on their own team and how they perform, their self-scouting, and they're trying to implement some different things and build out the offensive scheme throughout the regular season, which happens with every team, but still, you have to find a way to incorporate these young players into the game plan. You have to get them involved. You have to keep their confidence high, because when they're needed in the postseason, like, they have to be able to believe that they can perform. James Cook, I strongly believe this. James Cook would not have played the game that he played in the AFC Championship game if it wasn't for the way he played during the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
If he had not come out with 16 touchdowns and he had not put up the yardage that he put up and made all of the big plays that he made during the regular season, which gave him evidence to believe in, because there's a difference between believing that I can do something and never have done it, and believing I can do something and then doing it and getting progressively better throughout the season and having tape to look at to show that I can do it and have confidence seeing how far I've come. That there's a big difference between the two. And Keon Coleman is the latter. Yeah. He's the one believing he can do it, never having gotten a shot.
Yeah, I wanted to address Donnie's comment here.
Yeah.
He said Coleman was more interested in the clothes he had on. Dude was a clown. No.
What?
No, see, this is and this isn't me coming at Donnie. This is I want to address this, because when we first drafted him, I don't know if you remember what I said. Mm-hmm. I said, guys, don't get caught up in this jacket.
Exactly.
Don't get caught up in this,
because
that's not him.
It's not.
He told y'all.
Yeah.
I had on a jacket. He said, that ain't Keon. He said, I can only be Keon. But see, Buffalo media, if you watch all these press conferences, they do the same thing. They hype up. Why Buffalo? Why this? What did you think about that? What do you think about the city? Nobody gives a bleep. You know?
I got that too.
Nobody gives that. But when you see something you can latch on to, somebody that makes a joke, oh, this guy is funny. He's typecast. Remember Urkel? What's his real name? Hurry up. Anybody know? No. His name is Jaleel White, but he's always going to be Urkel, because that one instance in time that you can't let go of.
Exactly.
Now, was he good or not? We don't know. But the point is, he's always going to be Yellow Jacket Man, because it was cold outside and they had cookies out there. Like, he's 20.
Exactly. You
give me a platter of wings, am I going to be wingman for the rest of my life? Because I'm going to eat them joints.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Only in Buffalo, though.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, W for wings. Yes, W for wings. But I'm going to eat. But the thing is, when you Stephon Urkel, see, no, that was alter ego. But the thing is, when you talk about a 20-year-old man, what can he do? They don't wear suits and ties anymore. He didn't do anything. He has a big chain. Who doesn't? He got jewelry. He just made freaking money.
Yep.
But outside of that, he's a low-key cat. You see it. He's not boisterous. He's not a fashion dude. Stephon Diggs is a fashionista.
Yeah.
Not him. Yeah. So let's keep it to what he does on the field, which hasn't been much yet. But to your point, perfect point. Stevie Johnson, when you said that's it, freaking right. What was Keon Coleman before he went to Florida State? Where did he go? Went to Michigan State. Mm-hmm. Why did he choose Michigan State? Not he went to go to
because he played basketball there.
Boom.
Yeah.
What did Stevie Johnson do in the offseason?
Play basketball.
Who was the best route runner we had for 4 years on this team?
Stevie Johnson, 1,000 yards a season.
I wonder how. Mm-hmm. Basketball player, all-state basketball, college D1 basketball player, wide receiver. Can't learn from a guy who's got torn to shreds. Cole Beasley did what? Played basketball in the offseason.
Yep.
Like you said, Stevie Johnson, slow down. And I know exactly what you mean. It don't mean run a 4.8, 4.9. It means chill on your cuts. Sell them.
Yep.
Sell your body movements. Don't just do all this stuff like we used to do back in AM1 in 2001. Don't do this. You're not going anywhere.
Right.
But when you slow down and make your moves count, like Josh Palmer, everybody says, he said he learned from Keenan Allen. So Stevie Johnson, he's always in Buffalo. Keon Coleman, there you go. Eric Moulds, you work with Khalil Shakir.
Right.
Khalil, I want to see him on embedded. You know, and that's the thing that drives me nuts about how people talk about, you know, this and that and the third. And I see Donnie has an axe to grind with Keon Coleman. So I'm gonna let it ride. I'm gonna let him breathe.
Wait, what did he say?
Oh, what didn't he say?
Just ask the Beans miserable drafts. My sister could cover Coleman. No separation. Jeez, bro, did you bet money on this dude?
Tossed him up.
The Cody Ford of wide receivers. Holy cow!
Yeah. So I mean, maybe he's a Florida State fan. Maybe he really wanted somebody. Maybe he really wanted Xavier Worthy. Maybe. But you know, I mean, it is what it is, and I'm fine with that. Daniel, no, we're not trading Cook while he's hot. Forget
Why
that.
Not?
Because I don't want to.
Of course.
Unless you're gonna do Bashul Toot is gonna be your starting running back. Cool.
I mean, look, Jordan Mason gets traded for what do you get traded for? A sixth rounder, and no,
he traded with it. He got a fifth. They traded him in a sixth, I think, for a fifth.
Yeah. Well, no. So it was a sixth the follow in 2026, and a fifth this year. Or no, I'm sorry. It was a pick in the 100s, which is probably what that's fourth, fifth round, somewhere around there. The 100s.
What you said 100? Yeah,
it's like 106 or something like that.
106 third round.
Okay, so yeah, so they got a sixth round pick in 2026 and a third round pick this year for Jordan Mason and a fourth round pick this year. Right? I mean, the Bills couldn't do that to get a bigger, running back in here.
You're right, fourth round. That's right. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So I mean, just moves like that exist that are available for the Buffalo Bills that they just, I don't know. I don't understand that. Jordan Mason is not he's not an injury prone guy by any stretch. The most he was hurt was this season, but I think the idea behind that is there were moves that could be made. To the Coleman point,
I can agree with Steve. I mean, I can listen to Steve there because it's believe it or not, Steve Lynn is subjective. A lot of things that he can't do. He's a ball of clay. He's a big ball of clay.
Right. And I think the idea is when you draft these project players, you have to have a staff that has an idea in mind of what this player can become and how to steer him there. Yeah. It can't be development just for the sake of development. Think about the way Greg Rousseau plays. Who does he play like?
Greg Rousseau?
Yeah.
Who you got?
That's my point.
Yeah.
That's my point. My point is when you think about Greg Rousseau, the comparison is who? You know what I'm saying? When you think about JJ Watt, you can point to Bruce Smith. You know what I'm saying? When you think about you can point to Reggie White when you look at the way that JJ Watt played. When you look at the way that some of these other pass rushers played, you can Art still.
I was like, you see my face? I'm like, yeah. I wish the camera would have been on my face. I was like,
it's got so big, bro. like Kaden on Saturday Night Live, right? Right. but yeah, like when you bring a guy like Keon Coleman in who has these traits, it's one thing to want a guy with traits, and it's another thing to know what to do with those traits.
I was gonna say, that comment, not what you made, but the comment that led up to what you said, is why they're bringing all these washed up has-beens.
Yeah,
because Buffalo has no patience. You ask for something different, but there's no patience when they give you somebody that's not already a finished product. You're not going to get a finished product wide receiver. Steve said, I think it was Steve in the most talented wide receiver draft. Yeah, it was one of them, but look at other guys they passed on. I mean, maybe Xavier Legette would have been a good move. Maybe you shouldn't worry about having Khalil Shakir and have a Lab McConkey. Maybe you shouldn't, maybe you should have traded up and got yourself BTJ, which we all talked about. But they didn't. They got Keon Coleman. Now we got to figure out how they make him. How are they going to use him? Because once you get to a certain threshold, he'll be fine. Yeah. But getting to that threshold, he's not going to be big help.
Yeah. So Bully says, I also think Josh throws bad jump balls. Anyone else notice this?
Oh yeah, I've said that. Bully, I've said that numerous times. He's not a good deep ball thrower anyway. He's not.
Right.
The stats tell you that. Anything else over 20 yards, it drops off dramatically. Really dramatically. And it's always been. Nope. Columbus, I don't have to go to work. Ha ha. Ooh, look at that. But all right. And I mean, we stayed with the topic a little longer than I wanted to say. So yeah, we definitely want to go. There you go, Steve. That's what I was thinking about. Shaq Lawson. There it is. That's it.
Yeah.
And it's good if Shaq Lawson was Shaq Lawson and not Rousseau being a second iteration of Shaq Lawson.
Right. This is a slightly better pass rusher than Shaq Lawson.
As a matter of fact, we didn't have the show. Didn't I say that when we watched the draft? Didn't I say you freaking got rid of Shaq Lawson and drafted Shaq Lawson?
Yes, you did. Yes, you did say that. That's right. Yeah.
And you doubled down and got Shaq Lawson out of Rousseau and Basham. Then you went and got Shaq Lawson back the same year. You got Epinesa, Rousseau, and Shaq Lawson and Basham. So that tells me like I told you last time, I took Mike Green off my board. I took James Pierce off my board. Silas, if you're still around, please tell me. I saw you ask a while ago. Who do you think the Bills should take? This is
at 30. Yeah.
Who do you think they should get 30? I had a couple of names, but I'm peeling back now because I'm realizing we're not doing a speed rusher. So Nick Scorton, they could take Landry Jones. Landon Jackson.
Okay.
I don't want them, but they want those Joey Bosa type power rushers on both sides. And so I got to get out of my head and say, you know what? Okay, I'm not getting my speed. I'm not getting my Ben guy.
No.
So whatever. And that's why I know. That's why I kind of like Hoyt, because he is a run stuffer. Mm-hmm. He can play. I was watching Dan Mitchell for 10 seconds. Almost never do, but I decided to today. And I said, okay, let's see what you say. Well, this guy is going to be a one-tech turnoff. Nope. He ain't got it.
Not Hoyt, man. Not Hoyt.
I'm like, he's 6'4", 267. He's not going to be a one-tech.
Yep. The same people that think Ed Oliver could come in and be a run stuffer.
And be Aaron Donald, yes.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, Columbus. I can't watch. That's why I said I wasn't going to, but I said, you know what? They got some breakdowns here on Hoyt, and I said, all right, fine. It was like a 20-minute video. I just got like 10, 15 seconds of it. And it wasn't even a disrespect to Dan. It was just right off the bat, I wasn't going to waste my time on misinformation. So yeah, I'm curious of what they do. But see, the thing is, when you bring in guys like that, chess pieces, you tend to be creative, which we know we're not at all. So you're going to pigeonhole him on the left side or on the right side because Rousseau can finally go back to the left side where he rushed best from.
Right.
And then put Hoyt on the right side. When he doesn't do that, you're going to have Bosa come over there. And, Bosa plays 50, 60. He said he only wants to play, 60%, 60 snaps or I'm sorry, 30 to 40 snaps a game, which is about 60%.
Yep.
And that's completely opposite what Vaughn said. With Vaughn, they said, we do nah, I don't rotate. That's what Vaughn said. Remember that? He said, no, I don't do that. I play 70 to 80%. Like, now here you don't. I don't know who told you that.
You don't.
Right. And I'm like, okay. Yeah, Hoyt, they're all just another guys. They really are. And, when you talk about, you're talking about the safety room, we got Forrest, we have Hamlin, we have Rapp, and we have Bishop. This is why I'm cool with Forrest over Mike Edwards. See, Mike Edwards came in here expecting something. He expected to be a starter. And they allowed the draft to pass without taking the starter over Mike Edwards. They got a guy to go compete with Taylor Rapp or, maybe Mike Edwards. Edwards gave the job away. Otherwise, we'd be watching him play, and he would have been somewhere else now because that's who they wanted to start. See, with Forrest, he said, they told me I have an opportunity to come here and compete.
Right.
I can respect it all day long. I've seen his tape. Small town dude. I didn't like, pause on this. If you're going to come to Buffalo, you can't disrespect the city. He said, I had to Google Buffalo to see where it was. Fam, you went to Walnut High School in Columbus, Ohio.
He wasn't saying it like that, though.
I know. I mean, I'm just playing.
I'm sorry. He went to what school?
Walnut High School.
What kind of...
Yo, that was a sound effect too.
Yeah, I guess.
But in Columbus, Ohio, I did the math. It's about what 175% of the size of Buffalo, so 3/4 bigger, maybe.
Mhm.
Okay, fam, you're not from Atlanta. You're not from Chicago. You're from Columbus, Ohio. Relax. Welcome to Buffalo, though, for real. So I like that move because it's depth that allows us. Unlike last year when we and you were hand over fist, what safety could we take?
Mhm.
We ain't getting none of them. Cole Bishop was on my radar.
I don't think it's gonna happen. Like the idea that they signed a 26-year-old safety to come in and compete. They brought DeMar Hamlin back, who's 26, 27, to compete with Taylor Rapp, who is 27, 28, somewhere around there, and then Cole Bishop, he was 24 this year.
Who's that, Bishop?
Yeah.
23, 24, yeah.
Yeah, so he's going into year 24, 25, of his life. So, I mean, all the safeties are right around the same age, and to to be perfectly honest, the level of talent is about the same with all four of them.
Interchangeable.
You look at Forrest's best year is when he was playing strong safety, but in the games he would play like a free safety. He said that in his interview, like, these guys thought I didn't have the range because I was playing strong safety, but I was really a free safety.
Right.
Imagine what happens if you actually put him at free safety. Now, all of a sudden, the expectation is not as great because he can't cover the way a good cover free safety can. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, these are the guys that we're bringing in that if they're not fooling the offense, they're not going to be as effective. I'm not in love with the idea that my team has to be smoke and mirrors in order for it to be great. Think about, like, okay, for everybody that has this expectation of AFC Championship game again this season, you're fooling yourself, because Josh Palmer just told you everything you need to know about what to expect on offense this year. He said that Josh Allen and the guys told him it's everybody eats again.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're saying that this year, bringing in Josh Palmer, that means they're going to have the same approach in terms of we're not going to have one guy we get the ball to and we focus on. It's just going to be the open guy, which also means you may not have a guy that wins on every play. And if you don't have a guy that wins on every play, what are you going to do? Right? But here's the kicker to that, because that sounded weird when we heard it last year, but it worked out, right? Why? It was year one of Joe Brady's offensive build. What happened in 2020 when the Bills took over the league offensively? That was the first year of Brian Daboll's offense with Stephon Diggs, with Cole Beasley, like with the real weapons.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
The league had not seen the Bills with that level of talent in that style of offense.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So when we're talking about adjustments and we're talking about what the league has on tape now, it's not going to be as easy next year. It's going to be a lot of work for these boys. That was why it was so important to go out and get blue chippers, because now the tape is out. Now the cat is out of the bag. Like, you're not taking anybody by surprise this year. There isn't going to be any trade for an Amari Cooper type player in the middle of the season that saves the offense. They're not doing that again.
Yeah.
That's why they're getting these guys. Like, that's why they went and got Josh Palmer is a younger, less talented version of Amari Cooper. Greg Cosell said it. The comparison is there. So for me to look at these moves, let me just digress from this, because I don't want to spend the rest of the night on this. I wanted to get to
I know Steve asked the question I was going to answer. I'm not going to rank it. In particular, I'll just tell you how strong the position is. We can say quarterback is terrible. Okay. Running backs should be a decent, that's a good haul. A wide receiver is top heavy. You'll find some depth going mid to later rounds, but not so much. Offensive line, forget about it. If you need offensive linemen, you're done. Defensive tackle is by far the best part of this draft, followed by probably defensive line and secondary. So this year is the year to cash in on defense. I'd be fine neglecting offense this year if I had to, in order to cash in on the defense with the picks that they have. If you're looking at safeties and punters and kickers, I'd have to get back to you on that because I have no idea anything about them.
Okay.
But yeah, linebackers are so. But for what we need, it's whatever you want. Safeties and cornerbacks and D line, anywhere in the draft, you'll find a stud.
Okay. Perhaps one of the better points of the night. I really like this point. Walter says Coleman was playing really well before the injury and never returned to form. We'll make excuses for every player on defense with a hangnail, but we're defining rookie's wide receiver career in 16 starts.
Good point.
I mean,
I like that.
He didn't even start 16 games. He was hurt for what, 3-4 weeks?
He missed at least, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but again, all this goes down to what the coach's game plan is for the outcome of his development.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? If we had a clear vision of what the development for this player is supposed to be, then we'd be able to look at where he is versus what the vision is and say, okay, he's not living up to that. We don't have that information. We're probably never going to have that information. And frankly, I think that's part of the issue with the Bills' perception right now in terms of the players that they're drafting. They have this perception in their mind of what these players can be or should be, and when these players get talked about in the draft, the comparisons are always kind of really wonky.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's not like people don't point to our players and say, "Oh, man, the comparison to this guy, man. Think Aaron Donald. Think Warren Sapp. Think you know what I'm saying? Like they don't get those kind of comparisons. They get some off-book guy like Javon Curse.
Yeah,
like Javon Curse was great for 2 years and then he was hurt the rest of his career and didn't do much.
Or still.
Art still, right?
I'm 40. I have no idea who that is.
Exactly.
But yeah, it was funny, and you made that point. You're gonna laugh at this, but you know who Laviska Shenault's comparison wasn't coming out?
Anquan Bolden? Who?
Sammy Watkins.
Oh my God.
I don't know where that came from. I have no idea why that was or where that came from, but Sammy Watkins.
The most nondescript guy that's not doing nothing in the league. Like this is a comparison for this guy.
He's probably somewhere like Nate Peterman. Oh, did you hear that? Did you hear what Bean said?
No. What'd he say?
In his presser, he said, I remember playing against Joey Bosa. He said, yeah. He said he almost, I remember yelling at him on the sideline because he has Nate Peterman in a bad way. I'm like, why do we care what he did to Nate Peterman? He said he made his day tough. I said, Joey Bosa made his day rough? Or did Nate Peterman make his own day rough by throwing like 12 interceptions in the game? I mean, this is your GM, people. This is your GM. Now, Bosa did have 3 sacks on Josh Allen. I think that was when he played it. The only time he played against Josh, I think in Buffalo, he had 3 sacks. He did regulate. But when we signed Sammy, let's do it. Why not? Bust it out. Let's bring them all back. Ron Darby, he was getting cooked. He's like one of the top. He gave it the most yards in the league this year, top 15 in yards against. Bring him back. Let's do it.
Yeah. T-Bone says, so question for Key.
Yo.
What would be your top 5 picks of need the Bills could realistically make in the draft?
Okay, realistically, hurry up. I would with the top pick, depending on who's there, I would definitely look at safety. That would be one. Safety would be one because that's going to taper off dramatically after you get past, the second-ish round.
Mm-hmm.
Cornerbacks, you can go deeper. Chevelle Revelle from Eastern Carolina. He had an ACL tear. Athletic freak, 6'2", 205 or something like that. Had he not done his ACL like that, he would have definitely been somebody in the first round. He probably would have been one of the top dogs. So that'd be a Willis McGahee type fit. If I wanted to, I'm looking at actually I like Ty Robinson from Nebraska. Watch this tape. Ty Robinson is a player I can see the Bills liking. He's about 6'5", 295 defensive tackle. Very nasty, blue collar. That's be somewhere in the third-ish. I'm gonna do a write up on him as well, probably tomorrow.
Okay.
But yeah, I think if I had my choice in the matter, it'd be Matthew Golden. I don't think he's gonna last a 30, so you have to get groovy with it and move up and get that guy. Because I think Ted McMillan's going to be there after him. Golden definitely didn't hurt any draft stock when he ran a 4.3, and he came in at 6'2", and you already know his silky route running ability. So that, I don't know if that was 5 or not, but we definitely can talk offline even further and go in depth in who we got. Yeah, I think A does have an announcement that we talked about earlier in regards to that. You may be interested in. So yeah, we'll talk more. I promise you.
Okay. So let's get to this comment here. Derek says KC in the second half, the blueprint stack the O-line and for our wide receiver to beat them, Brady has to evolve scheme wise.
Yep.
Spin says, LOL, you say grab that guy with ACL tear. Bills draft him, your guy. Then he tears his ACL again. Then it will be Bean keeps picking these injury prone guys, still doesn't know how to draft players. So, I mean, you trying to say we just hate Bean? I mean,
right? No, that's not Spin. Well, maybe Spin, but no.
Yeah, I think Spin that's purposely saying that.
But no, see, you're actually getting our point backwards. What I'm saying is, stop going safe. Stop going Larry and Ogunjobi. Stop going Michael Hoyt. Stop going with 29-year-old Joey Bosa. Swing for the fences. If this guy's ACL checks out, which they do have medical personnel to look at, and they do have top-notch facilities to rehab, if he checks out, he's going to be a boom player. Look at Miles Jack. Everybody ran up for Miles Jack because his knee was, what they say, 2 years his knee was going to explode. I'm still waiting. Yeah. Still waiting. Never did. He retired. It's not going to happen unless he, has a weird swim pool accident.
Right.
But yeah, no, we're not going to say Bean keeps picking injury-prone players because he didn't. He didn't. Who was injury-prone that he picked? I'm waiting. Spin. Who's injury-prone? That they drafted, not signed. See, that's the key. That they didn't sign. They sign injury-prone players, but they don't draft them. Who's my one tech? No, I'm not trading up to 20 for a one tech, Nate. That's not going to happen. You got CJ West in the third round. You got Alfred Collins in the second. You have You have Deion Walker in the third, fourth. So if anything, you trade up into the third round to get one of those guys. Grant, he's gonna fall. He might be there at 30. I'm not really sold on Grant from Michigan because he had so much talent around him. He had bona fide safeties. He had Will Johnson at cornerback. He had linebackers. He's got two other guys on the D line with him that are in this draft. When that happens, when I look at the draft and how good you are, I look at who's in the draft with you. What accolades did they get that's around you? Because maybe they're boosting you up. We ain't got that in Buffalo. You have to boost yourself. That's why Josh Allen in Wyoming was a slam dunk, because he did everything he did in Wyoming around nobody.
Right. In weather. All the time, and that's what you want. I get it. You're looking at Notre Dame. You're looking at Michigan State. Those Alabama's, those high caliber teams. What you do want those players. Yeah. But if I'm going to move up and laud you for it, I need to know what you did to boost everybody up. Are you the cornerstone or are you just going for the ride? Yeah. Spin says, would you trade up to pick 20 for one of the CBs if they fall? Honestly, the only guy, and you can go, the only guy that I'm trading up for at 20 is you already know who it is. I know. Will Johnson. It's Will Johnson. We still don't know if Travis Hunter is gonna play wide receiver or corner. I know, but I can't say. But anyway, I think when you look at the guys that would be available at 20. Mm-hmm. The only other two guys that would be available at 20 would be the guys coming off of major injuries.
Well, I have one name for you.
Who's that?
Jahdae Barron from Texas.
Corner?
He's a corner, slot, safety. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So he's like a Cameron Curl type player.
He does. Well, he's more of a corner, but they asked him to play safety. He went to, I want to say he came from Clemson and he transferred in. And now he's a corner, but he was a safety before. And was he outside or nickel? Everything.
Really?
He plays outside, nickel. He plays everything in the back four, back five. So for me, if I'm trading up, Jahdae Barron is my pick. I run to the podium to get that guy. Derek, believe it or not, Xavier Watts is my favorite safety in this draft. However, I wouldn't trade in the first round to get him. I think he's going to be in the second round, unless something happens as a pro day that I don't see. Because right now he's a second round grade, and I think that's where he's going to stay. He's a ball hawk for sure. I think he was, if not the leader in the nation in interception, he was close, and that guy goes and gets it. And I hate the fact that I'm going to say that I don't know if the Bills want that kind of player.
Who?
A ball hawk that just goes and gets it, because he's not a good tackler,
Mhm.
but anything with the ball, he's gonna knock it down. He's gonna intercept it. He's got pick sixes for years. Yeah.
Wow. Spin says we get Grant. We won't need to spend $8 million free agency on
Already
the
did.
DT. I know. Too late. Sorry.
Right.
Listen. Grant is an athletic freak. Would I trade up to 20? I don't see Grant as specifically a one tech.
He's not a one tech at all.
Yeah,
he's Devondre Sweat.
Right.
Yeah.
I think he's just a massive, good pass rusher. I wouldn't say pass rusher, but he's a good two-way defensive tackle in a sense. You know what I'm saying? Where he can do both, but he's not. You shouldn't build around him as a one tech. And to ask him to come in here and do that kind of stuff next to Ed Oliver when Ed Oliver is already presenting a certain level of weakness or inability to execute certain things, and on the defensive line, I just don't want to put a guy like Grant in that position where he's doing more than what he's used to doing or doing things he's not used to doing and potentially getting hurt doing it.
Yeah.
I'd rather get some of the guys that you're talking about in the third, fourth, and fifth round that have been one techs that are going to come in and be one techs. Like, can we just let a guy come in as a corner and play corner? Can we let a guy who plays linebacker come in and play linebacker? Can we stop trying to convert these positions? Can we stop trying to find the next Jason Peters? Can we stop trying to find the next whoever? You know what I'm saying? Like that to me is the biggest issue of all of this. I haven't seen the Bills have one prominent player on this team that's come in and been healthy their entire career that switched positions.
Yep.
Like there's a reason that Christian Benford is one of the best zone corners in the league and widely regarded as not a great man corner. He's a safety. And when you ask somebody who's a safety to come in and play corner in the NFL where the speed is higher, the expectation of talent and skill is better, and this guy has been a safety most of his career, but come in and play corner. Well, you wonder why he keep getting hurt. He's not supposed to be a full-time corner. But imagine Christian Benford as a free safety. Imagine Christian Benford playing that Micah Hyde role. You don't think he would be amazing at that? See, this is what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have guys on this team where if you put them in the right position, they would be amazing. What you looking at?
Roy, elaborate. Realistically, big fatty nose tackle Buffalo could get in the draft. Oh, I got you. Never mind. I got it.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna backtrack a little bit to make that point. Spin instead of Grant, get Derek Harmon. Harmon is good if you don't have Ed Oliver. Harmon's not a one tech. Harmon is a crushing three tech, which we need. We need that if we didn't have Oliver. We need a complementary piece, which Harmon is not.
Okay.
Kevin, we need something more beefy at the one tech, Mr. Wick. Yeah. But see, the thing is, if you look at Deion Walker is 342, 6'7", 342. You look at Alfred Collins, he's 6'4", 6'6", 330. If you look at CJ West is smaller. I think he's 6'2" or 6'3", 330. But he's Mr. Everything. Go Jordan Phillips. Jordan Phillips is only 315, but he's stronger than all outside. He's a wrestler, so he knows how to get low. And a state champion power lifter. There are guys in this draft that and that's why I said later on for your nose tackle. You don't have to have a fat boy per se. Even though as we've stated previous time, a bunch of times I like the big guys from Samoa who can clog up the vision of the sun. But I think if you're doing this smartly, you wait to the third, fourth, fifth round and you grab one of those guys there. That's the value.
Yeah. Steve says we need three starters: defensive tackle, cornerback, free safety, and we need depth at linebacker, speed wide receiver, and offensive guard. I actually think linebacker is locked up. As far as the guys that we had last year, who did we lose
last year
at linebacker? I don't think we lost anybody to free agency at linebacker.
No.
So you're coming in with Ulofoshio,
Milano,
Dorian Williams,
yep.
Milano, Terrell Bernard,
Balen Spector for right now.
Balin Spector for right now. I mean,
Yeah, after
you
the
don't
53,
need
there was nobody else.
Yeah, you know what I mean? They're still playing a nickel, so you really don't need any. You know what I'm saying? So I think we're good at linebacker. Obviously, we could be better, but
yeah,
I think we're good at linebacker in terms of depth and starters. Speed wide receiver. Somebody's I forgot who it was that said this earlier. The teams still have to guard the entire field against us. No,
right.
No, they have to guard everything width wise, but depth wise down the field. If it's not a seam play, they're not throwing it deep outside.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't. You know what I'm saying? I think it's one of the reasons they had to go get a guy like Amari Cooper and make some adjustments to the offensive scheme, because teams were focused on taking the seam away. You know what I mean? And what having a guy that can win outside does is it now forces the defense to have to cover the entire field, because one of the things that allowed us to beat the Chiefs were those 2 deep outside plays to Amari Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's just be real about that. That forced the defense to have to play honest. And when you force any defense to do that, I don't care how good they are, no defense can cover the entire field.
Mm-hmm.
Heck, Philly couldn't even cover the entire field. They didn't have to. Why? Because their defensive line was so great.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But they still had a bunch of games during the season where you looked at that team and you were like, are they going to make the Super Bowl? They got a great run game. The defense gave up, however many points. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it really just comes down to how the pieces you pick, how you're using them. I don't need to go too deep into that. It's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, no, I was going to answer, who was that up top? Is that Donnie? Derek. Tyleik Williams, he's another 3 tech. He doesn't give you anything to pass rush. So he's a smaller body. I think he came in about 300 pounds. So he's a smaller body. He's not going to give you much of a pass rush. He's a run stuffer for sure. Mm-hmm. But the other 2 names that you named are the 2 that I liked a lot. And I'm going to keep saying those. I think I did write-ups on both. And I didn't do Alfred Collins yet either. So you guys keep giving me ideas. I'm going to do more of these things. But like I said before, tell me which format you like. You like the old formats or the one I did on Cody Simon, who was that linebacker, Steve? Hint. And somebody else asked how many starters do I think we're going to come away with. I think you could come away with 2 starters for sure. You could force a third one. You definitely could, if you want to do cornerback, maybe. But I think you could definitely, if you're not stubborn, you could definitely come away with a defensive tackle and a safety for sure.
Okay. Spin says we just picked up Kendrick Green, who's won the starting job on 2 different teams. No, he only had a starting job in Pittsburgh. He was not a starter in Houston.
No, he was, but he lost his job. He lost it. He was a starter on both and then lost the spot. Okay. Which is it's fine. I mean, he's depth, like you said. I mean, we got Aaron Comer. Aaron Comer has made guys play. We were worried about Spencer Brown. Spencer Brown is now a paid right tackle. You got Connor McGovern and David Edwards who's trailing around. So, I mean, I don't put as much stock in the names of safety guards and centers as some, just because I have faith in the offensive line coach.
Yeah. All right. So we got a decision to make. Because we can go a little bit longer, but Tommy's show is getting ready to start in about half an hour.
No, we can get out of here.
Yeah.
We're well, you make your announcements. I just wanted to talk about Walter. Yeah, I like that. Sean Dolak to the Bills. Yes. I don't think he's going to go undrafted though. I really don't. I think he'll go in the 6th, 7th round.
Oh, the UB linebacker. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I think this is gonna work. Let me just turn this volume down a little bit. That way I'm not screaming.
Wait a minute.
What's going on?
Feeling really parched over here, Key. I dig it. There's a special drink that I need. Maybe you can tell me.
A little parched.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I was thinking though?
What you think?
If Sean Dolak got him a sip of that delectable, delicious, refreshing Reed's tea, he'd be drafted this year. I think Reed's tea it doesn't give you wings, but it makes you move. Sean Dolak, get you some Reed's. Everybody that supports UB football, horns up. Reed's tea. is 1 part refreshing, 1 part delicious, 2 parts healthy. What can you expect when there are only 4 ingredients? I don't even drink tea, but let me tell you, who said earlier? That's a good drink there. Yum. What you doing? Go ahead over to Reed's. Get yourself a supply of the case or individual. What you doing? Get yourself a case. You won't be disappointed. What do I know? See it for yourself. Reed's Tea. You be there. Sean Dolak. Click on the link in the description below. Use the code PostPodium Podcast and let them know who sent you.
There you go. Spin says, "Do you think I'll be able to get Tommy to go on a rant?" Probably.
Yes, you get a rise out of A too. So yeah. And Mafia, you didn't get enough. Oh, you got to get your code 45. Billy, tell them what it is. Code 45. Get you there every time.
Roy says, "So what's the morale of tonight's show?"
We're just kicking it with you, man. I feel good. Believe it or not, I feel good.
He might have meant moral. What's the moral of tonight?
Well, he put an E on there, so
look, I don't want to bag on Roy for spelling. He a good dude. Cut him a
That's
break.
my guy. We took his draws now. Everything is good.
His draws. Damn.
Wait a minute.
They going.
Oh no,
that's cold. Roy was clowning us about these curtains for the longest, and now they his draws.
Yeah.
All right, we got to get out of here. It is it's 8:31. Shoot. Okay. All right, here we go.
You got your announcements?
Yeah. All right. So if you're hearing that music, that means it's time for us to skeet out of this joint. Look, if you enjoyed what you heard, if you enjoyed what you watched, please go on over to our YouTube channel at the podium. At the Post Podium Podcast on YouTube. Right. Go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, make that thing so that you can get notifications when we send notifications. Like, we are making some changes to our membership program. We are now we're going to be doing our live chat on Discord. Okay. So I'm going to be setting that up tomorrow because I gotta hop on with Tommy as soon as I get home. I'm gonna be on his show. You can join us too if you want. If you ain't got nothing going on, I'll send you the link for that too. But anyway, Discord, as soon as I get that set up, I will put the link out on our posts section of our YouTube channel. You can click that link, sign up, and you'll be able to be part of a live chat community with us 24/7.
And we text a lot.
Yeah, it'll be like having our phone number and being able to just text and talk whenever you want, the same way you guys would in the comment section of our live. We would just be able to talk ball all day long, right? Mm-hmm. So make sure you keep a lookout for that. We got more content coming for members also. We're going to be starting our Madden gameplay. There's just some technical things I'm working out with the process of how that's going to be put together for you guys, but there's going to be a live stream of that available as well. And the way we're going to do it is we're start fresh with a Madden football franchise. Obviously, it's going to be the Bills, but we're going to put the moves up for vote. Okay. So most of what we do with the team is going to be a consensus thing. You know what I mean? We're going to look at what the Bills have done during the regular season in real life, and we're going to say, what would happen if we went and got this player?
They're going to drive me nuts with this. Take the money.
It's going to be great. We're going to make all types of bad decisions, and we're going to have some laughs and some fun. We're also going to do a creative player thing. So if you guys have like a specific weight or height or whatever the case is, the more ridiculous, the better. But this is all just trying to have fun with this thing and have something to keep us interested during the offseason. So keep a lookout for all of this stuff. We got tons of other great content on the channel. Make sure you check us out. Make sure you follow us and stick with us for everything that's coming, because it's a lot. All right. With that being said, this has been the Post Podium Podcast on the Buffalo Fan Base Network, home of the all truth, no sodium takes. I have been your co-host, Aramis.
40 keys. We out, baby.
All right, y'all have a great night. Peace.